The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening and very well welcome on this celebration of SMP Day. It's a MSMP Day, but for us as a professional, we are celebrating Small and Medium-Sized Practitioners Day. So at Connect UV, we have celebrated this last year as well, and we have done a fantastic panel discussion during that time with the SMP practitioners, chartered accountants firms. And today we have a TED Talk kind of 15 minutes for each speaker. We are having a small talk like a TED talk, very interesting, very Powerpack talk with the panelists, and we are going to celebrate that. The theme is entirely made by D. Premnath sir, who is joining about at 6 o'clock due to sir some other commitment. 50% growth in the next 5 years. Entire thing, the structure of this today's celebration, we can say a structure by sir, and we have captured all the panelists of the different subject matter. We have tried to cover maximum of our profession, starting from basic practice to income tax to GST to some very interesting areas and like forensic and the FEMA, which is a new area as well, and the overall practice development with the speaker as a CA Piyush Chhajed sir. So without wasting much time, we welcome all and we welcome all our panelists, our guests, our today's keynote speaker, CA Prasanna Kumar D sir, a Central Council member from South and at present Vice Chairman of Committee for Member in Practice. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and joining, sir. Around 3-4 days we have finalized this and still you have confirmed. We are very thankful to you, sir. We welcome CAPU Chhajed, sir. Our today's one of the speaker. We welcome, sir. We welcome Rohit Kapoor, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We welcome CA Murali Krishna, sir. Thank you once again, sir, for joining. And we welcome CA Rudresh Pankhania ji, founder of Meadow Foundation, who is even Rudresh by himself has trained more than 15,000 chartered accountants, and he is one of the very, very good operator, I can say, in our profession. So, would like to now request CA Rudresh bhai to formally introduce our CA Prasanna Kumar D, today's chief guest keynote address, and after that we'll start our first keynote. So over to you, Rudresh bhai.
Good evening, everyone, and it's completely my pleasure to be a part of these esteemed panelists, and I'm very glad that I'm getting a chance to introduce none other than CA Prasanna Kumar sir. I'm sure, as you're aware, CA Prasanna Kumar sir is a Central Council member from the SIRC, the Southern India region for ICAI, and the Vice Chairman for Committee for Members in Practice. And I think he's done amazing things for members in practice. So thank you so much for gracing the occasion, sir. He's a senior partner of the firm Sri Ramamurthy and Company, a firm established in 1971, headquartered at Visakhapatnam. And very glad to hear insights from you, sir, on this amazing day and celebrating the day and helping these small and medium chartered accountants. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, CA Virat Shah, the founder of organization Connect Easy, and CA Hrudesh, and the 8 panelists today, more or less, I heard 6 out of them. CA Piyush Chhajed, CA Rohit Kapoor, CA Aanchal Kapoor, CA Murali Krishna ji, CA Siva Prasad, CA Narasimhan Elangovan, CA Hardik Chokshi, and CA D. Premnath. So I heard most of them to say a few words. You know, I heard some 4 of them very recently, less than a week also. And my dear participants, good evening to all of you. It's a proud privilege for me to participate in today's program, which has been designed so well, which is going to be very much helpful to small and medium practitioners, practicing chartered accountants, and also in particular the youngsters. See, I should call this celebration part of the celebration on the eve of International SMP Day. Friends, the name given to the program is so well coined that the 5-point formula for success of SMPs, and particularly with success stories, so that the 50% growth in 5-year period is achieved. It's a good concept that has been taken up, and I compliment CA Viraksha for such a great initiative that he has taken up. Particularly, these organizations got connect easy with the motto that helping hand for small and medium practitioners, particularly chartered accountants. The toughest thing in the world, if I have to say something, there's service. Particularly when you want to do service without any expectation, without expecting any result, that is the toughest thing. So in spite of that, knowing well, we see a Viraksha who has chosen that we should do something to serve our small and medium practitioners. That's why I tell, so I want to compliment him is for the laudable initiative that you have taken. The friends, as you know, whatever he is doing here, as an organization, as the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, there's a committee called as Committee for Members in Practice. We too do the similar thing, but of course, there's an organization, the backup of ICAI is there, part of ICAI. We do a lot more things there. And the initiative that was, the committee was known as Committee for Capacity Building Measures for Practitioners. That was the thing. Later on, we changed it, Committee for Members in Practice last year, so that we have to take not only small and medium practitioners, but also the entire profession as a whole. The friends, if you understand the type of practice that we chartered accountants are doing, more than 3 lakh chartered accountants are there on the rolls of the institute. But if you see the practicing members, it is little more than 1 lakh chartered accountants are into practice. Most of them are small and medium practitioners. In sense, if you see, I don't have the right now. I got some approximate numbers. If you see the individual practitioners, maybe some 15 to 20,000. And proprietary concern, individual proprietary, they hardly matters. Only they have got a trade name. They are on 62,000 chartered proprietary firms are there. And if you see the partnerships, so it's a small and medium, small partnership ranging from 2 partners to 5 partners. We have got 24,000 firms. Then you go to little medium size, 6 to 10 partners. We have got 2,000 firms only. More than 10 partners, up to 10, 20, 30, or more than 50 also. LLP, it comes to 2,300. This is the entire profile that we have, the structure we have. So if you see the entire chunk at close to 19, little more than 90% chartered small and medium practitioners, like the proprietors, individuals, and 2 to 5 partnerships. So that's why the SMPs may have got a very major role to play, not only hand-holding the SMEs and also being part of the economy as a boost of the economy also. They provide maximum number of employment, and the maximum number of chartered accountants are also produced by the small and medium practitioners only, because they are spread out every part of the country. Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 2, everywhere. If in Tier 1 cities also, you'll find small and medium practitioners, but you don't find the larger partnership in other parts of the country. SMPs, normally the greatest service that we do is to SMEs, small and medium, small and micro, small and medium enterprises. That's why we call them MSMEs. As you know, the MSMEs are the major employment creators in the country, and they're also one of the big backbones for the economy also. So SMEs, particularly MSMEs, they need the service of SMPs, small and medium practicing chartered accountant firms, because larger firms, whether you may have a chartered accountant, he may be a statutory auditor or a internal auditor, or he is doing some assignment. He does his job and goes away. They got their own inherent strength. Employee chartered accountants are there, so they take care of the running of the entire finance function, commercial function. When it comes to small and medium enterprises, they too much depend upon the small and medium practitioners for all services. If I have to say, in other words, small and medium practitioners almost act as a virtual CFOs of all these MSMEs. That is the role they play. They hand-hold with them every sphere of their business. That's why when we are part of this SMP, when we are hand-holding SMEs, we are true partners in national building. In sense, SMPs are very, very important. They play a very important role here. You see the latest trend in the, if you see the latest trend in the among the qualifying chartered accountants, maximum number of chartered accountants who are qualifying, they are preferring to get into employment, and very less number are coming to practice. So we are studied why this is happening. That was not the case prior to 2000. At 2000, 2010, something has happened. 2000 to 2020 also, one particular scenario was seen. A new scenario has come now in 2021, where the maximum number are going to industry. I'm not telling you going to industry is a curse or does not share. But why? There's some analysis to be made, because we are talking SMPs today. SMPs, so they feel that when initially they start, they feel that they don't get a guarantee of a guaranteed income at the entry level. Yes, that is true. The risk is also involved there. And the risk, while we know very well, the risk and reward, they go together. They are directly proportional. Businesses have got highest risk, high risk. That's why probably they are getting high return also. But when you come to this profession, the risk is there, but there's minimal. There's only tolerable limit. There's no intolerable limit in here. Here, investing small money, but your brain, your commitment. So that is the investment that you're making here. So that's why in the since it's low risk initial years, even if you've got a little lower income, if you can sustain for a few years, maybe some 2-3 years, thereafter you've got a greener pasture. So there's not been looking back at all. So you get a guarantee for the rest of your life. You don't have retirement. 60 years, 65 years, 55 doesn't apply to chartered accountants in practice. You've got retirement and going away with God's call. Both happens together for us. The friends, so you auto command a great respect and the stature, and you continue to enjoy it for the rest of your life once you are a practitioner. SMPs, so SMPs are going to have a lot of challenges. SMPs, particularly those who are above 40 years probably, if you see, we have been doing a lot of traditional audit. So should we continue to do the traditional audit and that manual audit, and what should be done in the new scenario, what is happening, when the digital transformation is happening, entire world, including every nook and corner of our country also. So what are the method of audit we have been doing? What should be the mode of audit that we want to continue now? There's a sea change here. I don't say the traditional practice is wrong. Traditional practice is correct, because that's where the machine may do something, but you apply your mind. That is not traditional. When you look at a small voucher, maybe for 10 rupees voucher, your brain works, chartered brain works so many ways, right? From the date, signature, narration, requirement, business relationship, everything. I know, checker, everything you see. There's small voucher for 10 rupees also. Will you be able to continue the same type of audit today? Certainly no. Given the volumes, the volume of transaction, the volume of business size, all those things to see, and the traditional audit, the so-called vouching is not the buzzword today at all. So we're taught when we're doing say only vouching today is no more there. You have to look into the systems and procedures and the risk assessment, risk ranking, then decide what should be the sample that you take, what should be the concentration area. Thereby, is the use of technology that is going to take the driver's seat today. Use of technology and the expertise need to be deployed using technology. But coming to professional opportunities are always there. There's no dearth of opportunities. We say when I started my practice, my seniors used to say, I started back in 1985. They used to say, Prasanna, Kumar, almost all the business enterprises in this city, they're attached to some audit or other. This is the wrong time that you're ready to do that. You should have entered into practice like 5 years ago. How did I enter? Because that 4 years ago, I joined my CA. Where's the question? Then I thought what to do. Then I started my practice. I too struggled. Not that I am what I am today was the day one. Day one, I am the first generation chartered account. I know what are the challenges I had. I used to have only one assistant. My table, that fellow's table, are 2 chairs, nothing beyond that. That's where I started my practice. So then slowly we climbed. And afterwards, when I came to 1995, I was settled down completely. That time also, one of my students, he wanted to start the practice. Then he went to some people. They said, see, you should have started a practice some 5 years ago. And this is the wrong time that you're starting. Now there's not of activity at all. See, why I'm telling you these things, this is the buzzword everywhere. This has been, we're still 1980s, 90s, everywhere. But opportunities are there every time. We have to travel with the times. Maybe those days we were doing some audit. Today, those days we were doing AP GST. The same that state GST was the AP GST, MS GST, MGST like that. But today it's changed. Version have changed. Taxation regime, fiscal laws, everything are underwent to change. You have to travel in the time. I think everyone will be successful. There's the Honorable Prime Minister, he had a vision. He stated that we would like to take, by 2025, the Indian economy should go to $5 trillion US economy. Maybe there's a big ambitious project. If not by 2025, I'm sure by maybe 1 or 2 years later we'll achieve. That's a big achievement for this country. When you look up so much of growth in the economy, so what is the need of chartered accountants here? There are retirements are happening. all seniors are going, youngsters need to come and take over this practice. So that's why there's no depth for practicing chartered accountants opportunities. So friends, so the committee for members in practice, like we see Virag is doing so much of services for all of you. We too are doing certain services whereby, so we want to hand over the small and medium practitioners by doing, by providing a lot of initiative, both beneficial schemes relating to profession as well as relating to personal related also. Though that is not practice, that is generally some personal related beneficial schemes are tying up for the benefit of not only practicing chartered but also in the members in industry and business also. So if you see, the courses are regular. We've got some wealth management course, we've got drafting of deeds, appeals and all those things, and also audit working papers certificate course we have. They are all routine things. Everyone that does a part of our conducting courses, seminars, webinars and so on and so forth. Coming to beneficial schemes, both profession related and personal related. Anyway, I'm not that keen on that one. We've got a lot of types on this different matter. So professional related, we've got a lot of types with software. Many software products have been tied up, like Tally. So Tally earlier it was given 2018 and beyond. Whoever has come into practice, they are getting a very high discounted price when they start their practice. Now now this has been extended for those members who have joined after 2015. They also are entitled now. This is a recent initiative taken. Like that, the many schemes are there. Please go through them. Please visit cmpbenefits.ici.org. We have got so many types who are done. Please take advantage of that one. Even if you are don't want, at least you could suggest your colleagues or juniors to take advantage, so it will be little helpful to handhold the members who come into at the entry level of their practice. Then coming to audit tool, I was talking about what is the type of audit we are doing. According to audit tools, see many of the Central Council members, president, vice president, in many forums, we have spoken that the Central Council has earmarked rupees 30 crores for providing audit tools to the entire fraternity, particularly looking at the small and medium practitioners. This has been last 1 year we are doing. So now the committee for members in practice has taken up that initiative. We're in the advanced stage now. Already, the RFP has been floated, tendering process going on, whereby we want to provide 4 tools now. One is the audit documentation tool. We do a great audit. Documentation is also very, very important, because future, whenever you want to defend your case, be it before the investigating authorities, be it before regulators or any authority, the audit working paper should be there. We're bringing out a tool for that. And data analytics tool. And as I told, the volumes need to be handled. Unless you got analytical tool, you'll not be able to do it. And in the practice and office management tool, software that also we're tying up now, a digital library also. So these are all the things we're taken up. So I don't take much of your time. So already I think I've exceeded the time that has been allotted to me. I'm aware. The friends. So today you've got a very stalwart speakers here. As I told you, I heard most of them. When I was talking about the digital tools, there's already Mr. Siva Prasad, Siva Prasad from Guntur is there. We are all users of the tools, but he is preparing a tool. He has got a very great tool for how to conduct the audit, how to plan the audit, up to the reporting, documentation, everything has got a tool. He has developed, he has demonstrated one day before me also. Very great tool has developed, and you have got other speakers also lined up. Great speakers, particularly Premnath. He is everything everywhere. You tell him a topic, anything, even with a short notice, he will raise to the occasion, he can speak. He can win the hearts of every chartered accountant. So the great person, I understand he has also coordinated. I know all these people are very close to D. Premnath, also close to me also, of course. So Murali, Krishna, whom I can see on the screen, is a famous person as far as FEMA is concerned. And if you have to talk about success stories, his story is a very success story. Very short span of time, they built up an empire in Hyderabad. So like that, if these type of programs are conducted, I'm sure the small and medium practitioners will get enthused, and they will also aim high and reach very highest levels, highest pedestals in their profession. With these few words, I thank Virag for giving an opportunity to come and address before you to share whatever the little I can share within a short span of time. And also, I compliment him for the lot of initiative that he has taken as an individual. It's a great thing. So I think we should learn certain things from Virag so that we can implement these things in other parts of the country also for the best benefit of small and medium practitioners. Thank you very much. I can see Siva Prasad also. I'm very happy to see him. So he's a researcher himself. He has got great ideas. I think all of them are good. Aanchal also, I heard her yesterday in Visakhapatnam. So everyone was appreciating for the excellent presentation she made yesterday. I heard other, faculty also today. Wish you all the best, Viral. Thanks for giving an opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. We are very humble and it's our pleasure, sir, that you joined and addressed it from our platform. We are very thankful to you, sir. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thank you. Viral, with all your permission, so I got a program at 5:30, as I told you.
Yes,
I'll just log off and get into the. Otherwise, I should have continued the entire thing. I should have liked it, but however, it's available on YouTube. So when I have little time, I'll certainly go to night itself and see whatever the following program, entire thing I'll give tonight itself. Huh? Thank you very much.
yes, thank you. So thank you so much, sir, once again for your wonderful keynote address, and thank you for the Institute initiative also for SMPs. We are very thankful to you, sir. And now we will move ahead with our first speaker for overall practice development, CA Piyush Chhajed, sir. Sir is a qualified information system auditor and involved in the evolution of various software systems for the specific need of the clientele, specialized in direct tax and indirect tax litigation at income tax, co-opted member of Board of Studies of ICAI for 2004-5, co-opted member of Committee on Government Accounting of ICAI for 9-10. There is subgroup member of General Committee of WRC 2007-8, also Career Counseling Committee and Capacity Building Committee and many others committee. There is a directorship and trustee at Shyam Ahuja Private Limited, Sri Vardhman Jain Govind Tirth Samiti Rajasthan, Sri Ghanerao Jain Tirth Rajasthan. So with this small introduction, we welcome you, sir, and would like to request you to take the proceeding ahead for our today's first session, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Virag, founder of the Connect Easy, other CA Videsh Pankhania, and other my co-panelists, Mr. Rohit Kapoor, Aanchal Kapoor, Murali Krishna, Siva Prasad, Narasimhan, Hardik Chokshi, and Premnath. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present today on this wonderful day of SMP. And thank you very much to the CCM sir, Mr. Prasanna Kumar, for setting the keynote stage today very well and informing us about the actual factual position of SMPs. And wherein he mentioned that more than 90% are still practicing, around 60% are practicing as a proprietor, and between around 24 to 25% are between 2 to 5 partners. So maximum of our practicing chartered accountants still remains SMP, small and medium practitioners. So I will be sharing a small screen in next very short screen, and as the theme is basically 5-point success formula. So and overall how the firm should follow this 5-point success formula, I'll try to throw some light upon it. If we can follow that, I'm sure it would be. The only one thing, Virag, I would, you have suggested that 50% growth in 5-year period. I'm sure after you listen to this co-panelist, this 50% will translate into 100%, I'm sure, because the 50% would be inflationary trend, which is today 8 to 10%. And in the real terms, growth would be much higher, I'm sure, 100%, and the participants will benefit. So with this, I will share my screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. One second. But it's so overall, it's a full screen is visible according to me, no? Yeah. So I'm not really able to see 100%. I can't hear you.
Slideshow mode F5.
इसको बड़ा करना screen. Sorry, I did some.
Slideshow mode.
Okay, I'll do it this way. Okay, so I hope everybody is able to see this. Virag?
Yes, sir.
Overall practice development. So 5-point success formula. What is the 5-point success formula for SMPs? What are the 5 areas I tried to compile the 5 important areas for our SMPs, which technically they should, according to me, should be applied if they want to see the growth in the next 5 years. So what are the 5 important formulas? The most important, which I feel, is self-evaluation. Then it's a firm building, it's a knowledge sharing, capacity and capability building, and fees. So coming to the very first point, success formula would be self-evaluation. So when I talk of self-evaluation, it's a pre-evaluation. Where do I stand today? As a CA, whether as an individual I want to provide taxation services, what are limitations? I need to evaluate if I am an individual today and I'm doing a practice and I'm only providing a taxation services and I'm doing some small audits of MSME categories, I'm doing a tax audit. So there are limited service offerings which I am doing. I may not be having a lack of specializations. My presence would be limited. So if I'm practicing in Mumbai, I am only available in Mumbai. So we need to do a self-evaluation. Every practicing firm individually needs to do pre-evaluation. So it's very important. Hello, I am a CA. You need to do a pre-evaluation whether everything is there. Once you do a pre-evaluation, then you go into a post-evaluation. That if I want to move it to a partnership firm, network firm with multiple offerings, multiple service offerings, partners having specialization, geographical presence. So when I say the 5 success points, the first point is a self-evaluation is required. Where do I stand today? What is my limitations today? If I want to overcome these limitations, where I need to move. So after a pre-evaluation is done, I want to actually fall into a post-evaluation system where I can have a firm with a multiple partners or I can have a network partners. I can do a multiple service offerings. So if I have a partners who specialize into taxation, GST, Companies Act, I can join hands with them so I can provide the similar services under one roof. A client which I'm serving only on a direct tax front, I may serve them on an indirect tax front. I may serve on that Companies Act. So it will result into a multiple service offerings. Then each partner will be able to do a specialization. As an individual, possibly I'm not able to do a specialization. Though I'm doing a limited GST service, I'm providing limited GST services, I'm providing direct tax services, I'm doing a tax audit. But ultimately, it's not a proper specialization. It's very important over here to understand that this specialization actually leads into a growth in a very multiple types. The growth, which if you are not specializing, if you are providing as an individual a multiple services, and if you are a specialized, your growth rate actually definitely changes. It changes in a multiple presence. Your geographical presence also changes a lot. Yeah, one second. Screen is not changing.
No. Yeah,
Now it's
self.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I was on first. Yeah. So self-evaluation. Yes. So you need to do a pre-evaluation and then come to a post-evaluation. Once the pre-evaluation is done, once the post-evaluation is done, you know within the next 5-year period, I have to travel from here to there. Now, for traveling from here to there, I have to prepare myself. I have to look for my partners. I have to look for network. See, it's very important. If 60,000 firms out of total 100,000, as told by Prasanna sir, is still an individual firms, it's a proprietary concern. And as a proprietary concern, obviously growth rate may be different. As I said earlier, if you are providing multiple services under one roof, and if the partners are having a specialization, if I'm handling direct tax, purely direct tax, obviously I will be able to charge better, I will be able to provide value addition better. So you need to pre-evaluate and then post-evaluate and move towards this. So this would be the first success point according to me. If individuals, practitioners are able to self-evaluate, this would technically applicable to a firm who is a proprietor of between 2 to 5 partners. So I'm a 2 partner or 5 partner. I need to move to 10 partner firm with increasing scope of activities. Even if I'm a 10 partner, believe me, one partner cannot specialize into more than one area. There are so many areas open up for a chartered accountant's firm. What would be the benefits once I build a large firm or I build a network? When I talk of large firm, I'm not going into 10 plus 20 firms, which are quite limited. Even a 2 to 5, if I'm a 5 partners or 5 to 10 partners, I would see it as a large firm. What are the benefits and why it would actually result into a growth rate? The most important benefit is a cost sharing. 5 individuals, operating through a different infrastructures, having a different staff. If it actually joins hands into one single firm, obviously there's a most important benefit which is quite evident is cost sharing. Two, a better IT infrastructure. I would have a better IT infrastructure. I can invest into IT tools. I can invest into the softwares. I can invest into idea, audit tools, documentation tools. Once I am able to do that as a firm as a whole, obviously my value of services will be also better. Higher brand marketing. So you would be, generally a proprietor firm is not recognized by a lot of people. Lot of big entities or even MSME do ask whether you are a proprietary concern or you're a 2-partner firm, 5-partner firm. They look forward to a bigger firm. So it's better. So it gives you a better brand. Once you are a 4-partner, 5-partner, even the client perceives the continuity of those firms for a longer period of time. And therefore the market brand is perceived better. Referral practices increases once the number of partners are high. So you will also get a referral practices from an individual proprietary who is only doing direct tax and tax audit or a small level GST work. And if there is some litigations happening in those fields which he may not be able to concentrate. So it has been seen those individual proprietary firms are actually giving a referral practices to the bigger firms. A lot of bigger firms in fact are relying upon referral practices coming from this proprietary entities. As a larger firm, you can follow the best procedures, best practice. You can invest into forming of the procedural network and follow the best practices as far as audit is concerned, taxation is concerned, or even for the purpose of administration. Knowledge sharing. Knowledge sharing, when I look, is amongst the partners itself, amongst the network itself. A bigger the network, a bigger the partner firm, the discussion will be higher, the knowledge sharing will be higher, and ultimately this will result into providing a better service and a better growth rate. Wider geographical presence. So if you have a 5 partners to 10 partners, your partners may not be everybody in Mumbai. You may have a Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, Kolkata offices. So you have a better, wider geographical presence. A client's looking for a firms having a wider geographical presence would definitely prefer over compared to an individual or a 2-partner firm. Quality control procedures. Now, incorporating the quality control procedures in a firm is very necessary. A small SMP cannot technically do it. If you see a large firm or a bigger firm belonging to a bigger large firm, they have their quality control partners who looks after the quality to be maintained. It's very important for a growth rate to be gone taking it ahead. You have to depend, your quality has to be good. So it is also important from an audit and assurance function that your quality control procedures are placed. Because you are subject to peer review, you are subject to a lot of other reviews by a lot of clients nowadays, a lot of regulatory bodies. So it's important that your quality controls are procedures are in place. It's difficult for SMPs to follow or have a best quality control procedures. So you need to move into a large firm. Again, as I said, 2 to 5 firms. If person is proprietor, he has to aim to move to 2 to 5. If it's 5-partner firm, he has to move to 5 to 10. So if everybody has to aim to move ahead. Third important point is knowledge sharing. Knowledge sharing is like taking seminars and training sessions. Knowledge sharing is very important. This is the only way where actually a practicing firm of chartered accountant can showcase its value. It can showcase its knowledge. So if I am a tax expert, I deliver lectures on tax, I take seminars, I take training sessions. Lot of everybody is aware, a lot of training sessions have been taken by a lot of professionals today on behalf of Institute, on behalf of Connect AC, on behalf of WRC. A lot of other bodies are doing. The benefit of these speakers, why you speak on this is it gives you a brand value. It increases your reach. It increases your value. Your knowledge has been showcased. So the knowledge sharing is the most important. This is the only way technically you can showcase and market yourself. Marketing otherwise is not permitted. But taking seminars, training sessions are permitted. So a chartered accountant SMP should actually come out from the regular work and start delivering seminars and training sessions. It may be difficult for them to devote time, but it is very important to maintain this if they want to take their firm to the next level. Similarly, insightful reportings, you keep on making reports for your clients and also the would-be clients, keep on circulating, send regular updates to your clients. This is very helpful. Whenever there are some circulars coming, some notification coming, I'm seeing it has been forwarded on WhatsApp just like that. This really, according to me, does not help. When you are talking of regular updates, it's important that your viewpoint has to come. So if a circular has come, if a judgment has come in the tax field, you need to have your comments and your views upon it. This makes your knowledge sharing very important. It really amounts to knowledge sharing, which may result into a growth rate in your firm. Writing articles, writing journals, writing books. These are also another important aspects for the purpose of the knowledge sharing, which are the ways in which you can actually market yourself. Because the chartered accountant professional firm cannot market otherwise like any business entity can do. These are the only methods whereby you can showcase your capability. Once your capabilities are showcased, obviously you would be benefited. The growth rate could be seen very easily. Believe me, if you're giving a regular training sessions, if you're taking regular seminars, if you're writing articles, there is an immediate appreciation by people, and you will start getting queries on this account. And this is how actually the growth takes place. Fourth, capacity building, the most important. Again, when I say capacity building, as I said that you have to actually increase the firm. Now, increasing the size of the firm does not mean you just have a number of partners. The capacity includes number of partners, hire more people to have a huge team. So if I have a direct tax team, you should have a proper team under it. You have a partner, you have a chartered accountant, qualified, semi-qualified. Of course, the CCM members said that it's a hand and egg situation initially. What I understood, a lot of proprietor concerns are not able to invest in this. So it's, if you look the professional practice as a business, technically you will have to invest in the people. If you do not invest in the people, the growth is not possible. It's an inevitable that you also will have to invest. You have to have a people, huge team who are actually capable, who can actually deliver what is by way of knowledge sharing, who can market your firm. It's very important to build a capacity. Without capacity building, growing of SMPs becomes little difficult. When you are building a capacity building, it's important that you hire talent from all the fields, importantly from technology field, because technology has become important. Whether it's a direct tax, indirect tax, or a ROC practice, according to me, it has to be. You have to elevate loyal and intelligent employees to partner level. There should be a mechanism. You believe me, like it's my personal experience, even in our firm, you will find that 50% of employees have actually become a partner. So all the employees who are employed with you, technically after 5 years, 10 years, there should be a policy, there should be a roadmap that they would be taken as a partners. This will motivate them. They will actually build capacity. They will build their capability, and that will be ultimately benefited to the firm as a whole. It's individual also, and also to the firm whole. Have a fixed plus variable pay structure. That's okay. Provide work-friendly environment. So work-friendly environment is need of our today. Along with capacity building, capability building is the another important skill which is required to be done. Only just building numbers will not help. The employees, partners should be capable of executing the work with their skills should be proper. Their skills have to be enhanced. We have a regular CPE programs of the institute. The CPE education has been made mandatory only for purpose of capability building. It's very important. Along with capability building, which amounts for which our employees and partners should actually attend some training sessions, attend seminars, read articles, write articles. You have to motivate your employees to become leaders. Regular trainings for the employees and staff. You can have a regular training programs in-house also. In-house also, your employees and staff should be trained in the subject matters. Whenever there is some updates coming weekly, generally it is recommended that on a monthly basis, your trainings for employees and staff should be provided. Encourage employees to undertake certificate courses, appraise and motivate employees for their work, give opportunity to employees to represent the firm. Now, this is very important. When you are representing some client, when you are making a presentation to client, if you are taking your employee along with it, it really motivates him lots. You just see the difference it makes. Only partners are doing, your presentation is made by an employee, and ultimately the partner goes and presents it to client. Employee does not realize, he does not get connected to the firm. It's very important if a partner is going, the employee who has worked on that presentation should be taken along. This helps in the long run. He gets attached to a firm. There's an infatuation which is developed, and this only works in your growth cycle. Once the employees are connected to a firm, it works super. So that's important. Take employees to client meeting. The fifth, the last but not least, the most important is your fee process. If you generally see, the chartered accountants firm are actually entangled into a circular. It's a circular would look like this. We are charging a very low fees to the client. We have because of charging a low fees to client, low revenue, less remuneration to staff, you are not able to actually hire advocate staff or a capable staff. Basically, you need to increase billing to increase revenue, add work to compensate for the low fees. So we are into a circle. Either I increase billing to increase revenue. If you increase the billing, you are worried that the clients will go away, or I add more work or more services at the low fees to compensate for low fees. So I am actually increasing my workload, but ultimately because my fees is being charged at the low, ultimately my gross revenues become less. Ultimately there is no time, so I'm busy. I've added more clients, but my fees are low, so I remain busy over a period of time, and therefore I'm not able to do a capacity building, and my ultimately this results into low quality of services. And ultimately over a period of time you may grow to a particular extent, and after that there's a stop. There's no further scalability. How do you overcome this? How do you overcome this? You charge advocate fees to a client. Please believe, we have a recommended fee, scale fees of ICAI. Of course, that may be a way high. A lot of people are not charging, but at least we should do a cost working. If a chartered accountant minimum fresher, if you take a cost of minimum 50,000 also, then what is you calculate per hour billing, and after per hour billing only you should charge. According to me, if you are able to charge a premium fees to a client, then only you will be able to get a high remuneration. You will be able to pay high remuneration to staff. You will be able to hire quality and skilled staff, and that will share knowledge to clients on regular basis. If the skilled staff is recruited who is being paid properly, you will be able to share knowledge to the clients. Believe me, if you are sharing the proper knowledge to the clients, if you are actually giving a value addition because of the higher good quality staff, the fees charged or the premium fees charged to the clients would not be pinched. You will be able to recover it because clients would value it. It has been seen when you are being charged low. In fact, when you are charging low, they are not valuing it. As it is said that the fee is something in the fee is never valued. Similarly, if the charges are very low, it's not very valued. We need to understand as a chartered accountant that our fees has to be appropriate. If you are able to charge a better fees, you are able to work more on brand building. You can do a capacity building and ultimately offer a quality of services. So your fee should be charged. Just for an example, I'm just this is a real-time example. I will not name it what was happened. Let's take an example. I have 3,000 clients today for whom I am filing an income tax returns. An average fee per client is 2,000 rupees. I'm not taking Mumbai. According to me, 2,000 should not be a fees. But let's take a person who is medium persons are situated in rural or semi-rural or not major metro cities. So my total fee for filing 3,000 returns is 60 lakhs. My cumulative efforts is 150 days. Let's analyze one thing. If I increase my fees from 2,000 to 4,000 rupees, what would be my reduction in the client? Is it that 50% clients would go away? I'm sure if all SMPs do this evolution, that even if I increase my fees from 2,000 to 4,000, or if my existing fees is 5,000, I increase to 10,000, I'm sure not more than 50% of the clients will go. Because if the 50% clients go today, if they are not coming because they cannot afford my services where the fees has been doubled from 2,000 to 4,000, presuming 50% have left, then also your revenue remains intact. If the actual 50% does not goes away, only 40% goes, there is a revenue growth. If it goes beyond below 50%, that is 60% clients have gone, then there may be loss of revenue. But your number of days which you were putting it would substantially come down. So if you see cumulative efforts, which was 150 days, if I'm increasing fees, I'm doubling it. Even if I'm doubling it, I'm sure your reduction in the clients would not be 50%, but your time efforts which you are putting would actually reduce. Now, if I reduce this 50 days, I'm sure at the same revenue, with the reduction in the clients, I get a lot of free time. The free time can be utilized for acquiring new clients, upgrading the skills, and building the firm. If you're acquiring new clients, upgrading skills, you can go out, you can deliver lectures, you can deliver seminars. Please believe me, the numbers will also again come up. This 1,500 will become 1,600, 1,800, 2,200. Moreover, the 1,500 clients which have actually been transferred, which could not afford my fees, they are not going out of the practice basically. They are maybe availing the services of some other medium or other proprietary concern. So I am moving from a proprietary concern to a partnership firm with 2 or 3. So overall revenues of a profession as a whole is increasing. The value of a chartered accountant is increasing. The value of the firm is increasing. I am now being considered a better and a larger firm when compared to a proprietor who will be charging 2,000 rupees. So you please, everybody needs to evaluate that if I increase the fee substantially, to what extent I can increase, even if there is reduction in client. So you compare the increase in fees with the percentage reduction in client, and if your revenues remains similar overall, please do it, because that will reduce pressure on you. This pressure can be utilized, time can be utilized for much better things. So with this, I will end my presentation. So this I end, according to me, this, if you follow this 5-point success formula, as I said earlier, that it's not only 50% growth, which anyways you have to achieve by way of inflation. It should be 100% growth. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful TED talk. We can say a short talk for this session, sir. And now, without wasting much time, would like to invite CA Murali Krishna, sir. Sir has to go somewhere else, other commitment. So we welcome sir. Sir is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and also sir is a member of the Institute of Company Secretary of India. Sir has overall more than 15 plus years of practical experience and practicing areas of FEMA, FACRA, FCRA, SEBI, ODI, ECB, and compounding proceeding, FIPB matters, company law matters, NBFC, public issues, takeover codes, private equity matters, conducting due diligence, valuation, capital market issues, and also presented papers on the said topics. Sir is actively engaged in the activity of Institute, ICAI, and SI regularly. There is a regular faculty to professional institute and also corporate government bodies and under the taken training programs and presented papers on various topics on the above subjects. So with this introduction, we welcome you, sir, and would like to request you to take the proceeding ahead for our today's subject. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Virat, and good evening to one and all. So it's a privilege for me to present my few thoughts about the present day of challenges that normally SMPs are handling and how to take it. Of course, myself, when I started my practice in 2005, when I was a company secretary, because I initially started my practice as a company secretary and then moved into CA practice. One thing what we observe is obviously everybody has same challenges that, you know, I have a small practice, I have a small clients, how to go about it, and generally we are fear of taking any new areas. So then I started, like, you know, just think about why should I go for practice and what areas to be taken. And then I started evaluating myself, you know, which area I have to take up. Fortunately, I was working on SEBI matters for some time. Then I moved into FEMA and of course in between CA practice also. But certain areas I thought of, you know, what should be the success factor for CAs so that at least we can see that what we can make it out. Mr. Virat, I think my screen is visible. Or not yet. So I'm trying to share. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now my PPT.
Yes, sir. PPT is visible, sir.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I, thought of sharing about this so that at least I can make it how we can generally start, because how do we go about it and this thing. So most of the areas, maybe it's a general system that when we start thinking about it, we think like, I cannot able to do it. Will I able to do it? What shall I do? Which area I have to take it out? But believe me, this is a regular and a kind of question every time one will see. It's not that only in the beginning, but in the journey also. Maybe if you believe in yourself, you will think like, irrespective of my success, let me try. Okay, how to do is a different issue. First, let us try. Then we will start evaluating that how to do it. Because first, unless we thought of doing it, we never know how to do it. It's like focusing a torchlight in the dark. So unless you focus, you don't know what you get. So that being the reason, like there is a famous quote from Mr. Bill Cosby, who says, in order to succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure. Please mark these words. Your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure. So what does it mean? Basically, your desire to do in a particular area of your choice. You can take, say, GST, you take about audit, because these days no area is lesser than any other area. Of course, that's how we believe that the area what we are doing may not be greater than others, and that is being the reason we always undermine our effort and our success. So please remember, you have to dream before achieving it. It means you have to feel yourself that you have started something of area which you want to do, and accordingly, you please never don't compare with others. It could be a small area or bigger area, but the moment we start comparing, what will happen? You start degrading yourself, and so the concept of fear will come into picture. Irrespective of your desire for success, your fear taking over your desire. So that's why you keep on dreaming in such a way that your desire will take over all of your fears. The fear of failure, fear of being criticized by somebody, or fear of being ignored by somebody. All those fears will go away. And another important thing is you have to bear humility. That is, even if you fail, open for that criticism coming from somebody, so that at least you will not have that fear that you may be failing. So that being the reason, bear that humility. Think like, yes, I may fail, but I'll try my best of my best. So that being the reason, then you will not look into the concept of fear of failure, or fear of being ignored by somebody, or am I doing myself better than others. All these things will go away. And always, please remember, any area you select, shoot for A grade in that area and nothing less than that. Because unless you shoot the bigger one, normally we don't go up to our boundaries, because you have to break your boundaries, both mental and physical. Of course, now globally also you can go, but unless you shoot for higher grade or higher area of practice, you cannot normally open up yourself to the risks. That we have seen many people where they think like, my area of practice is small, my clients are small. Generally, any relation will start small, but it does not mean it will stay small. It can go up, it can go to any level. But only thing is, we should think about ourselves that we have grown to the level we want before we actually go to that level. That's why you have to realize internally before you realize externally. So unless you go to that level, I'm sure you cannot look for the kind of people which you want to bring in on board, and think like, you have to look at this as a specialized area. And another important thing is, you have to look at it, any area which you choose as a specialized area, or you select the area which is specialized area. Like, you suppose you want to look at GST, look at GST as a specialized area, go deep enough, try to extract as much as possible from that area before actually you look for something else. Because generally, there is a proverb, there is a say in our small and medium practitioners that I have to serve every area. That's a generally, yes, of course, it's an idealistic situation, but in reality, can we really go for each and every area? Do we have that much of time? Do we have that much of team? Or should I go for any focus area? So please never try to follow herd mentality. Like generally, there is a saying by famous Mr. Albert Einstein that the person who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd. It means whatever the crowd is going, you can't go beyond them because you are also following the same crowd. The person who walks alone is likely to find himself in places no one has ever seen before. Like you take any experience, any senior or any successful person, he never thought of like, I have to go along with others. Normally, they follow their passion, their curiosity, their wisdom, their wiseness, or any name that you put it, but they normally don't go along with other people who are following something. So be a unique person. Try to be a unique person. Think like a unique person. Act like a unique person. Bring systems, process, or whatever you want as you want rather than what others are following. Because generally these days, suppose you want to buy some, say, a mobile, we normally take a reference. That's good, but does not mean your like or dislikes are same like others. You may pick up something because you know why you are picking it up. So normally this herd mentality is actually killing down many people uniqueness or the creativity what they follow. I appreciate Mr. Virag how he has been doing now. If he started following the herd, he may think like no other person is doing this kind of initiative. Why should I do that? Why should we not be thinking like in a different person? We can do. There is, of course, in the journey there will be a hard situation, there will be surprising situations, there could be a small failure or a bigger failure, but it does not stop there. There is obviously everybody knows that every failure is a stepping stone. Then why we should stop just because we could not achieve what we are thinking about? We could simply follow our passion. There is nobody going to stop that. You can start saying, you can stop dreaming, you can stop thinking just because others are, criticizing that. That is how generally we do that. But why? So this bigger question we need to ask about it. So maybe as Mr. Piyush has mentioned, why we cannot hire a person who is maybe costing a little more than others. Generally we think like when somebody is paying say 25k for some CA or 30k or 50k, any number you take it, why should I pay him a little more and why should I lose an opportunity? But myself I have realized that actually it's like again chicken situation. Do you need to have recruit the people first, or you have to look at the opportunity first? So please remember, unless you have people first, even if you have opportunity which are being offered to you, we can't realize that, because who has to execute that? Yes, we have client, we have work, we have opportunity on the table, but who will convert that into action? Who will convert that into reality or result? Obviously, in this case, recently I happened to read an article that in a stock market, should we buy low and sell high, or should we buy high and sell higher? Which one is correct? Should we follow the herd mentality that everybody want to buy low and sell high? In the same way, should we pay low to our team and think like they will do miracles, or should I pay more and try to also involve them into the team and functionality, and should I go for the unique activity as I feel? Maybe somebody else may criticize because of course the rest of the world may criticize. That's a different story. But should I follow my passion and mind and say that I need not to think about that, but let me bring the people first and do the activity later? Or should I wait for the activity so that later I will recruit the people? This is a kind of a scenario always we look at it. Third thing that I feel, and of course we realized also, because when I started my CS practice, I used to have 2 CS partners, but not as a partner exactly, but it's a kind of network or association. We used to share almost everything as a referral work or whatsoever the case may be. But should we have an individual practice just because I started now, or should I go for a team? Obviously, the team play a bigger role, because a greater thing can happen in business only because not by one person, but because by a team of people. Should I bring more and more team in the beginning? Of course, it is not possible, because economically we are not able to pay the expected remuneration to the other team members, and also the cost incurred for the establishment, bringing them on board for training and all those stuff. But please remember, teamwork only will pay off on the long run. Nobody can really achieve greater things only by himself. And the other work is, when we bring team, we have seen people that how can I train them? How can I ensure that they are working in the way that I want? Generally, the teamwork is not a small issue. Everybody knows that by bringing people, we have more challenges than what we initially think about. But having said that, team can be built provided we have intent to create the team. We are intending to create a number one team, because generally when we hire the people, there is a general thinking that should I hire a person who is below my expected level of knowledge? I mean, whether he should be lower than my standard, or lower than my performance or expectation, or he is at par with me, or he is above me. If you want A kind of leader, you better hire A plus kind of leader. The teamwork is obviously happen when you bring more talented person than what you really need or really you think. So the team should be in such a way that maybe they are overtaking some of the skills what we know or what we have. Maybe they are good at execution, or they are good at say articulation, they are good at writing, they are good at departmentalizing, or they are good at front end CRM. It could be anything. So you can bring a team member maybe who is better than you or best than what we expect. So the teamwork is always a pays off when we really look at that intent that we have to bring a team. We have to bring the team in such a way that they will be staying here for a long term. Do you have a plan to create a short, medium, and long term plans? Whether your business or the profession, should it be meant only for a small time? Do you visualize for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, howsoever it may go? So normally, there is a quote that Mr. Charles Noble who says about this, that you must have a long-term goal to keep you from being frustrated by short-term failures. This is a beautiful word. You must have a long-term goal to keep you from being frustrated by short-term failures. Because generally, suppose say in this COVID, we observe that many of the clients are not coming forward for the work because maybe they are stuck in something, maybe it's a health emergency, or their business is not actually scalable or sustainable in the COVID scenario, or it could be a number of reasons. But I used to get multiple calls from the known associates who said that actually, sir, I am not able to sustain in this time. So I am thinking, or I am fear of that, can I sustain in my practice in the area of say income tax or GST, or you take any area, because no area is less than other, as I believe. So, but the problem here is from when actually the government has imposed a lot of restrictions on this movement while the COVID is banned out across India or globally as well. So most of the time we don't have your revenue, but our expenditure is not stopped. So how to sustain? So many of the people have got frustration. Many of them have got even into a deeper issues, because every month maybe somebody was sustaining only on borrowed funds, or maybe they are not seeing a vision that yes, I have a future practice for such and such area. So this kind of frustrations may keep us from our long-term goal or long-term vision. So how to have this kind of, how to face this kind of areas or this kind of situations, how to go about it? Certainly, when we have a long-term plan, when we have a long-term goal or medium or short-term goals, we definitely have some visibility. For some time, the short-term goal, even if they are being met, could be any reason, kind of, a pandemic or epidemic, or it could be a depression or economic situation, or one of our key clients might become, busted in the business. It could be anything. So when we see this kind of area or this kind of situations, how to focus, how to have that sustainable focus. Obviously, when we have this kind of planning or a practice area of focus, certainly our deliberate practice, what normally we know, unless we have that kind of long-term vision, certainly these things are going to deviate us from our future focus. So have certainly about this kind of plans broken down from long, medium, and short term. Only then we compare ourselves, our budget versus our actual achievements. And another thing is, I observe that most of us, we know that accounting is important, because we account something which is spent or which has been invested. But I generally myself, I observed that most of the CAs do not, most of the professionals, even I have seen being a company secretary, I have seen other CS also. Most of us, we don't account for our timing. Which customer is taking more of our time? When I said ourselves individually as well as our team. So who is taking most of the time of our practice, and which work is actually consuming more and more time? So unless we account for our time like an accountant, as normally somebody say that you have to act like a promoter but work like an accountant when while you are coming for your timing or accounting your time, because it's a very key resource you are spending for somebody, could be a customer or potential customer, but are you accounting your time? So do we have a tool or any practice where we account for each and every area of our day-to-day practice? Unless we have such accounting and practice area being accounted, so how to say that which customer is actually worthy to work, maybe which customer we need to let go, which work we need to let go, even which team member we need to let go? Unless we understand this, please understand, please remember that we are spending so much of time, maybe for some time, just for peanuts. So unless we have that kind of a meticulous system which take care of our team and the client resources also, sometimes they are spending along with us. They may say that what kind of work you are doing, unless we are able to demonstrate with a clarity that yes, I have been started, I have started with this work and I have been working for so long on such and such works, where we have a description, a short description on day-to-day work that we are spending. Unless we have all these practices, how to say that we are achieving our goal by spending our critical resource, that is time? Because we by say to spend some money on one of the important tool, many times a small and medium practitioner hesitate to spend an obvious cost. But please remember, unless we spend, we don't get. Unless we spend first, we don't earn. So all these things will go in terms of your planning. So your planning could be a digital branding, your planning could be a digital office, or your planning could be how to train somebody under you or under the team or network, whatever it may be. So how to say that this I'm moving in the direction I want. So that's why please make a practice that you need to have a very clear planning, which has been broken down in terms of the short-term, medium, and long-term planning. So this actually ingrained into the teamwork. So unless you have a planning, how to say that my team members are aligned, my team members are actually doing what they are supposed to. Unless you have a measurable goal, how to say that my team is performing the way I want? Where are the KPIs? Where are the key performing index or initiatives? You can take in any way. So how it has been paying off? So I'm sure unless you have all this stuff in place, a small practitioner will stay small only. A medium practitioner will stay small or medium only. Because the small and medium, of course, is a relative word. Maybe for somebody earning 10 lakh may be a small practice, or having 10 customers is a small practice, or working in only audit is a small practice. We don't know. You need to have your own boundary of definition that what is meant by small or what is meant by medium. So generally, none of us can say that which one is going to become medium practice area in next 5 years. Maybe one area may pick up like anything. Because when I started my SEBI matter practice, I could see that it's very small. But when I actually worked for almost 7 years, I was happy that I could sustain for 7 years in one area that I choose. But of course, later when I moved to FEMA, why? Because this going to the SEBI area has become very volatile, because whenever a share market is really booming, we get a lot of calls. When it is actually kind of bear market is there, we don't suddenly see any kind of work out coming from that area. So how to say that this is a big area, small area, sustainable area? We don't know. Obviously, we can never measure which one can turn out to be a bigger one, which one may turn out to be a smaller. Today, the tools are taking care of a lot of areas of practice. So how to really go about it and how to say that we can sustain? Obviously, then the word comes is persistence. So unless we have persistency of the area what we choose, unless we know that we are working towards the goal by keeping the long-term objective, So unless we keep on perseverance or persistence, we cannot really grow the way we want. Of course, any area, as we said, it will start as small, but it can never be small when you are really working hard to the direction you want. Of course, the sky is limit in the present area practices. The way government is also enforcing the regulations and the e-governance that has been, made it out. When I started my practice as a company secretary, I could see that for the first time MCA 21, when it is actually conceptualized and started way back in 2005 and 2006, I could see that that's going to be a starting point. But the problem here is, can we visualize that? Can we say that this area is becoming a really specialization? So, like there is again another famous quote, Mr. Albert Einstein, where he said, "It's not that I am so smart; it's that I stay with the problems longer. That means I am persisting with my problems, what I see today." So unless we hold to it for a longer time, unless we really dream big enough that it will keep us pushing in the direction we want. So unless we keep persisting, we can't go in the direction, we can't achieve the success what we want. So even the greatest oak tree, what we know, was once a little nut. It has been only been held in the ground. So unless it is being held in the ground, how can it grow? So it has been started a small nut, and it has grown from size to size or strength to strength. So then only it has become such a big oak tree, such a greatest one. So only thing is, because it is holding to the ground and it is taking all the support from the ground by bringing maybe the kind of team like the branches, it has been built over the time, and it is able to sustain the natural challenges in terms of, you say, the bigger winds or no rain or drain, whatsoever we know. So unless you visualize yourself that yes, I can become a oak tree or a bigger practice area that we can choose, how can we go from the small, the size what we today relatively we have, how can we go to that? But of course, being persistent is not small thing alone. We have to learn continuously. We have to have a habit of reading every day. There is a saying that any new area, if you want to become expert, you need to have minimum 10,000 hours you need to spend to become expert. So if I make a small math, that a 10,000 hour, if you break it down, maybe if you can spend 3 hours per day, you need minimum 3,333 days to become an expert. So when I put 3,333 days, approximately it is 10 years. So it means if you want to become an expert in any of the area, you may have to spend 10 years of time on that area alone, or maybe 1 or 2 ancillary area you can connect. But we need to persist in that area of practice for at least 10 years. Maybe it may be more. A greatest guitar or violinist has not become that much expert because he has spent a few hours or few days. He must have spent hours of time. But the only thing is, we have not seen that. So we see only bright side of practice, that he has become expert. So if you want, one has to become expert, we need to be persistently practice in that area, and maybe a 10,000 hour rule will hold good for that. And we need to have cross learning, in the sense, whether you are trying to learn only one area, of course it may not be a sustainable one. We know that, like suppose you take GST, it may go into the connected practice of income tax. It may go into the concept of, say, FEMA or Companies Act, or maybe many other areas. It could be, say, you have to look at the previous central excise law, because it may be existence for some of the areas or some of the goods and articles. So like that, our service tax, we don't know. So it may be applicable in many areas. So we need to have a cross learning. So you could learn old areas like learning, unlearning, and relearning. So unless we have that continuous learning aspect or persistence, what we normally refer, how can we say that we grow from our present kind of practice to the future area of practice we are trying to bring in? And digital branding, of course, these days everybody knows that having website is a fancy. but is it having a workable or a up-to-date website? So like that, we need to bring a digital branding, because of course it may require some money. But one thing is, are we having the kind of investment that is required in our mind and in our practices? And please remember, these days there are many obsolete practicing areas. It may suddenly today I have seen, like say suppose Nokia example, which is very famous earlier, suddenly become non-existent.
Sorry, I'm integrating in between, sir, because we have our more 6 panelists are there. So just want to know how much time you will take, sir, more, sir.
Yeah, 3 minutes more, sir. Yeah, 3 more minutes. Okay. So this obsolete practices, like we observe today, that a human being is being replaced by robot, or robotic practice areas, are that what we see. So you cannot change the things by fighting. So you have to change something, building new model that makes existing model which is obsolete. So existing model, we may voluntarily need to become obsolete area so that we can mentally and physically migrate to the new areas. So that way, many of the times we may have obsolete practice areas. We need to understand it, we need to forecast it, and we need to adjust our team and practices. Then accordingly, we can go to the next level of practice by bringing more and more new areas into the practice areas. And networking, of course, already Mr. Piyush has already mentioned. So unless we have networking, today we can't go for every area of practice into specialization. So keep bringing more and more networking of people, then you can realize that you have downloaded or offloaded a lot of kind of burden that you have been presently carrying, and you can sustain into new areas of practice. So thank you. So I believe that I could add some value for this, and certainly it may throw some light for the future discussion and practices. Thank you, Viragji.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful address, sir, and wonderful presentation. Like in a limited time, is like a keynote address. So would like to request now our next panelist, CA Rohit Kumar, sir. We welcome you, sir, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation, sir. Rohit, sir. Rohit, sir, is a well-known chartered accountant from North, and particularly Punjab, who has a string of successful career in his life. So with this small introduction, we welcome you, sir, and would like to request to address the attendees. You have to unmute yourself, sir. You are on mute, sir. Yes.
First of all, I thank CA Viraj Shah, founder of Connect Easy, who has given me this opportunity to deliberate regarding the small and medium practitioners. Friends, without taking much of time, I am going to start my deliberation, just sharing my views, which I see in my day-to-day life. Sir, CA, if we talk about CA is a unique profession. You can't compare this with other professions. You can't say that CA is restricted only for auditing or for taxation or for accounting. This is for sure. I can prove you this, that in every field, in every area, you will find CA. Let us take the example on this. If we take the example of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, we all are aware who is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. He is an Indian investor and trader and manages the assets firm of Rare Enterprises. Sir, I just want to add here that he's also a chartered accountant. And friends, you will be surprised that his total net worth is of 37 stocks holdings, 37 stocks is near about 19,500 crores. So what I want to convey, I just want to tell you that all around we are seeing that CAs are growing not only in profession but in other fields also. This is the core message. I take another example. CA Piyush Goyal. We all are aware that CA Piyush Goyal is a cabinet minister for the government of India and has been having portfolio of Ministry of Railways, Commerce and Consumer Affairs. Sir, he is a member of Parliament of Rajya Sabha. So again, what we are seeing is that Piyush Goyal is also a CA. Sir, I just want to add also one thing regarding Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. You must have heard the name of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett was the person was the investor and a businessman of USA. Friends, you will appreciate that at the age of 11 years, he purchased shares, and at the age of 14 years, he purchased the land in his own name. So friends, what we are going to learn from this? He just earned only by selling newspapers. So I'm just enlightening you that the CA in this profession, Jhunjhunwala, is being described as India's Warren Buffett. So friends, I just want to say that in every sphere, we can't say that the CA profession is only limited to the profession which we are doing. What we need a passion. You can have a passion for a job, you want to have a passion for a profession, you want to have a passion for a business, you want to have a passion for stock market, you can achieve in every field. The sky is the limit. So what I want to convey is that in each and every, if I go by in any corner of the world, you will see that the CA has played a vital role in the economy, not only in the economy, but also in the other affairs. Now I'm going to take the friend's example of Kumar Mangalaram Birla. You all are aware that he is a chairman of Aditya Birla Group and he is a chancellor of Institute of Technology and Science. Friends, I appreciate that he is also a chartered. Without not taking much of time, I will also name the last industry, which is from Mumbai itself, is Shekhar Kapoor. Legend of film industry, film director, actor. At the age of 22, he qualified his ICAI from Wales in England, having studying accountancy. So if we say that, we can't say that this. I will say that he has played a best innings in all the reading roles in all over the profession. Secondly, I just want to go to the back of the 1st July 2017, when our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who addressed when the GST was launched. What were his words? His words were, "Your signature is more powerful than Prime Minister." Friends, chartered accountants are ambassadors of country, economy systems. Like ambassadors, plays a vital role in the country in making the licensing, in making the relation. Therefore, the chartered accountants are one of the ambassadors of country's economic system. Let's take the example. Sir, when I started my office in 2007, I just remember when I started my office, I have only a standalone system. But sir, today, we in our office are having 40 systems, but we have developed with networking with the server. Piyush sir has already told that without networking, this is not possible. So giving lead to that point only, networking is one of the important things which is very much required. Why I'm saying networking is required? I take an example of mine. I'm working in debt taxes. While filing the audit report, what I feel that there are 3 points which are required to be taken care according to the provisions of GST. So if my firm is not doing GST, then what will be my position? Either I will file wrong audit report or I will have to sacrifice my client that I am not able to do that. So friends, initial years when we are not doing anything, my suggestion is that we should go and ask our seniors or take help from other persons by enlarging a network, and slowly we should move from individual firms to partnership. Sir, what is the difference between the passion and profession? We all are aware that if I talk about Virat Kohli, sir, Virat Kohli has a passion. He is exposed to risk also. While playing, a ball can hit his face, and after that, it can hit. It is possible that it can be hit at any part of the body, and after that, he is not able to play. So, friends, there is no risk in our profession like this. There is no life risk. So, what I am just trying to say that if we have a passion, what I feel that does our profession matches exactly to our passion? The percentage of people who might answer with an yes to this question may be considerably lower. But I think if I work anything with a passion, you will 100% you will succeed. There is no chance of defeat. How I can now also take to the new point. In 2009, my wife qualified for chartered accountant, and she asked me a question that whether I should join your firm or not. I told her that don't chase a rainbow. My exact words, don't chase a rainbow, because I don't want that. If I am doing direct tax practice, I don't want that she should also do direct tax practice, because I just want to enlarge my area. At initially stages, she felt bad and said, you don't support me, you are not trying to understand, please enroll me in your firm. But at later stage, she was convinced that that step which we took 9 years before, at the time when GST was in picture. On 1st July 2017, I told her this is the area where you have to grow, because earlier scope was very small. The scope was not large. But in 2017, if I remember, many advocates, because earlier there was a VAT, and because with the age, it is not possible for each and every advocate to work with so much keen and so much care, because GST is a complex law. So in the very first year, we were able to make 150 files of GST. So this was a challenge. So what I want to convince is that, friends, the initial change can be painful, and not changing will be a disastrous. If I'm not ready to make changes, I am not ready to accept the changes, what will happen? What will happen? The other person, because don't think that the floor is empty for only for you. Other person will occupy the floor, and he will start his innings. So what I just want to convey is that the limit is the sky. Friends, in income tax also, I will take one by one my experience, what I felt, how I started my work, and how in the initial 5 years and after 5 to 7 years, I was able to manage the work, how I was able to gather the work. Friends, I still remember when I started my practice, I was also doing coaching classes also, taking coaching classes. All of a sudden, in 2009, the e-coaching concept came. At the site, I decided I will rush totally to the practice without I'm going to close the coaching classes and will refund each and every student. Now I am just sharing the what problems I faced. Sir, in the initial time, because we were new to the department at that time, because I completed my CA in 2007, my bread and butter was coaching classes. What I did, I started my practice. And when I started my practice, initially there were challenges. First of all, at that time, there was not everything was faceless. But I must appreciate that this faceless will give you work. Mind my words, this faceless regime will give you work. Don't be that this will create the work will not be distributed. The work will 100% distribute. Sir, we were used to, the other advocates were used to get their work done because making good licensing. But now this all chapters are closed. Only requirement is that your drafting skills, you have to hit the bullseye in a very appropriate manner. I'm just discussing one of the error which has been committed by the department in the face assessment. I am talking about the face assessment. Sir, assessment year 17-18, everybody know that was the demonetization period. One of few days before, I received a appeal from one of my friend of CA, who is also a CA, regarding 17-18. I told him that, have you filed the appeal? She said, yes, I have filed the appeal. When I read the order carefully, please be with me, I'm just telling that if we read the documents carefully, you have so much scope you can't imagine. What I noticed in the order that the return of the SESI was filed on 31st March 2018. the return of the SECI was filed on 31st March 2018. We all are aware that in 17-18, the assessments were made on the portal, e-assessment portal, but 143(2) notice were issued by the jurisdictional area. What I noticed is that in that case, there was a defective return notice in the month of June 2018, and that gentleman has removed the defect within a period of 15 days. But what the department took is that the return was filed in financial year 18-19, and 143(2) notice was issued within 6 months from the end of the month from which the defects were removed in the by filing the new return. Friends, under section 139(9), I'm just citing the example. I'm just want to enlighten you that if we read the things carefully, you will definitely succeed. So crux here was when the SECI was losing the case, they were on this version. We don't have any legs to stand because this is the losing battle on the facts of the case. But due to legal lacuna, we were able to make that case. Now, I'm just also want to enlighten you regarding other things in income tax. Friends, when we are when our firm is at 5 years or 4 years, we find that insecurity. If we don't have work, don't we write articles? I am myself telling you, I have written articles, and with those articles, I got some references. Because nobody will know you, because everything is now faceless. But when you will make the articles, put in the ITAT online, put it on Taxman, put it on tax management or other platform, many professional friends will read it, and they will outsource you the work. So by writing the articles, by giving the webinars, by giving the seminars, you get the work. This is also a sort of networking of making the relationship. Because I must be very much, my experience is very much in the income tax, but not much in the GST. So what I will do, obviously I will outsource the work. I will not give my client, but I will outsource the work. So friends, we see that in day-to-day life, it is not possible that I can do all of the work on my own. And obviously, in that scenario, what I will do, I will outsource the work to some other professional. Like the same, we also get the outsourcing from the other professional friends. Second, friends, you all are aware that audits, special audits are allotted by the income tax department also, and even by the GST. So friends, whenever there is an opportunity, do fill the forms, they have some eligibility. Why I prefer the partnership firm? Because if they say there are 10 employees are required by your side, what you say, I don't have 10 employees, but if you have made a partnership firm and have fulfilled that condition, so we always prefer that to work in a network. So friends, I'm just emphasizing that you can't say by faceless the work is less, but I feel the faceless the work is more. I can give you another example on faceless. We all are aware that section 147 is also faceless. Friends, पहले 147 में एक sanction होती थी of additional or PCIT or TCIT, and the department used to give that sanction in a mechanical manner. And आज की date में 147 में there are 7 web of approvals and sanctions. You expect that department will not give in a mechanical manner? Department will move in automated system? My answer is no. So don't lose. Just read the section, and I also request that while reading the section, read the section with your heart, not with the time pass. When we think that we want that to jump to the conclusions, it is not possible. Sir, for reading a paragraph, I know when 271 AAD was introduced, I took 4 days to analyze that section. So when we read a section, read it carefully, try to link each and everything with the definitions part, which is given in section 2, or if definition is not given, then go to the other acts. So what I was sharing here that there is an ample scope, whether we talk about 15 CACB, whether we talk about special audit, whether we talk about 147 assessment. Friends, I receive a call, sir, अब तो काम कम हो जाएगा, 147 के पीरियड 3 साल हो गए. Sir, you are in a myth. Sir, काम बढ़ेगा, वहां पे 3 साल से 10 साल भी हुआ है. In 10 years, if my client has taken a bogus share capital after 7 years, earlier its case was not opened, because I am not talking about proviso given in section 149, which says that if it is time barred in earlier regime, it can't be reopened. But I am talking if after 10 years, after 7 years, it is noticed by the department, he has taken an entry of share capital which is bogus. The department has a case by linking it to the assets. And they can make a case, again the opportunity will knock to the professional owner. So friends, there are ample opportunities. I assure you that this is not the end of the road. Don't lose yourself in initial years. Try to make networking. If you are try to make the partnership firm, if you are not comfortable in partnership firm, make the LLPs and LLPs in different geographical areas. Why I'm telling you in different geographical areas? Because if I have an office in Delhi and I have an office in Mumbai, what catch I can have? I have a client in Mumbai. Might be it is not possible for me to attend each and every point of my client every time. But I will say, if Raj is my partner, I will say, Raj, please go to that client place and we will share the things. This is networking only, dear friends. So I just only want to make you aware that this profession, where we are growing, which we are in the present situation of faceless, don't feel that the profession work will reduce. I assure you, audit report is complex. 100 to 194 Q is inserted. You all are aware that in order to make the assessment in the case whether the purchase has not been TDS has not been deducted, efforts are required. But only criteria is to be fixed is the fees. Charge handsome fees, don't shy, and try to give your best services. Nothing will happen. Sir, if I talk about future of profession, I must advise you, all of the friends, you must go through the book of the author Daniel Susskind and Richard Susskind. In this book, he has written that many professions will extinct due to 3 reasons: technology, intelligence, and automation. Sir, but for you youngsters, there is no challenge, because we all are aware how to use the technology. We all are aware that how to file the reply. If the VSV is made, don't think that the appellate work will be finished. I assure you, in the faceless regime, there will be more appellate work. Try to do the appellate work. If you need any help, take the help of the seniors. You are free to call me for any query regarding direct taxes, but don't shy, because this is the time when you can gather the things, when you can work. With this, I hand over the floor to Virat sir for the next speaker. Virat sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your brief and wonderful keynote address for income tax purpose. You yourself as an income from last so many years and have a wonderful work you have done, sir. So now we welcome Aanchal Kapoor, ma'am. Ma'am is also a very renowned chartered accountant and now taking session across India in the GST, and would like to request ma'am to take the proceeding ahead. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Virat ji. First of all, I'm very thankful to Connect Easy and CEO Virat Shah ji for giving me this opportunity in the celebration of International Day for Small and Medium Enterprises. Friends, I would like to, Viraji, Hindi will work a bit. No issues or?
We have a participants across India, and also they are connecting on social media. So maximum try to in English and little bit obviously you are from North and we as a Mumbaikar also from
Done.
so you can have a both. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect, sir. Perfect. Got this. So I would start with the quote: "Good things comes to the people who wait. Good things comes to the people who wait, but better things come to those who go out and get them." Although during Corona periods, we need to be a bit cautious while going out, but still, see, life never remains same. Life is always not perfect. And this is what we have seen. We cannot predict the things. And when it is a problem, it is not the end of the world. Understand that. When a pencil breaks, it doesn't mean that the life is over. Try to sharpen it from both the ends. And it is a new and a different start of life. And for the young and medium enterprises, the GST, it has opened the doors to a whole new world of career opportunities. Not only GST, I will be talking about certain non-conventional sources also, but coming to this, GST has opened the world for all the medium scale enterprises where each and every person, see, 20 lakh is not a big turnover. So from 20 lakh, 40 lakh, the person starts coming into it. It gives you a good client base. Income tax, a person may file a nil return, may not be a company, not going into Companies Act. But for GST, even if you want to supply a penny of rupees to a product to another state, the person needs the registration. I still remember one of my clients, he used to sell the scrap of the wood. So that person also said, I want a registration because my goods are being transported from Punjab to Chandigarh or to Delhi area. So why I'm sharing, so small and medium enterprises, GST for the young chartered accountants, as we all are a partner in nation building, and especially the small firms. So make your profession your passion. We belong to such a profession, my dear friends, where the Constitution came in 1950 and we started our institute from the year 1949 itself. So see, a year before the Constitution came into picture. So this shows, try to go into it. GST provides you ample opportunities. Being faithless, it does not, being faceless, it talks about that the person who is into this profession does not carry any value. See, experience matters, but the face value, being in faceless, does not come into picture. So you can establish your own identity in coming into it. Now, if I talk about opportunities are ample, there are lots of opportunities. So we must create the opportunities. Let me talk about GST a bit. Starting with, I will be discussing 5G points. 5G is what I'm saying, 5 points relating to GST, where we can enhance our practice, we can get the client base. Talking about starting with the GST compliances, we say that the compliance practice, we all know in GST is not so easy, my dear friends. If we talk about the GST compliances, may it be the refunds, may it be the lots of returns you have, the number of changes that are coming in GST are huge. You do particular thing and the provision changes. Every time the person needs the plannings, needs to implement those changes, where IT also plays a greater role. A few amount of ITC, amounts of ITC, that is a missed ITC, can lead to huge losses to the client. So compliance, but make use of technology in the compliance. I can quote you an example where a hub was initially addressing a queries of around 2,000 people a day or 2,000 queries a day. Later on, by initiating the technological changes, by bringing in the technological changes, the number rose to 9,000, and see where the profitability works. make use of the softwares. Everything cannot be done manually. If I say you today, you go on those older systems of accounting, it won't be possible. For compliances also, there are a number of softwares, but at the same time, a word of caution, never only depend upon the software. Those are also built by persons like us. So understand the concepts, apply those, go for GST compliances. You have huge, and this is what is the first step which we go in GST. Once you get the basic knowledge, the compliance level knowledge, and when you go to another fields of GST, the second G, GST consulting. If you know the graph levels, you know, if we say जिस person ने हाथ से काम किया हो ना, nobody can match his or her skills. So likewise here in GST, once you get the compliance level knowledge, go for consulting. Consulting needs conceptual knowledge, more of conceptual knowledge, knowledge about the case laws, tax planning areas, how you can save your clients. I'm not talking about fake invoicing at all. I'm talking about tax planning. Number of clients, they come to us, they don't want to compliance. Compliancing is being done by somebody else, but they come, please advise how this particular thing should be dealt with. I give you an example, import of goods. My client was importing the goods from multiple segments, on multiple ports the goods were coming. So when he needed an advice consultation only on the issue that should he get registered at the multiple places or should he go for one registration? The contractors come for this, the rental persons come for this, who have the rental business incomes across the country. So this is an area, if you are good at your conceptual knowledge, then and case laws plays vital roles. May it be the consulting area, may it be your GST litigation, which is the third G of GST practice, and that is GST litigation. Friends, litigation has its own era, has its own flora, you know. Coming to the GST litigation practice, each case is a unique case where you have to apply the brain, no monotony at all. The case laws, as I already mentioned, plays a very vital role in GST litigation. You read those, the case laws that are given there gives you an insight that how a judicial person, how a judge has gone for the same. It makes the way that how we should read the law. What even a single comma or a full stop can play such a vital role that I have seen the huge demands being perishing like anything. So GST consultation, GST compliances, GST litigation, especially when it is faceless litigation. A few years back, rather, at the beginning of this pandemic, I still remember the January or the December month, just before the 2020 pandemic. So at that time, I used to travel to Mumbai or to Delhi or to Guwahati for handling the cases. And now in the year of pandemic, it was so easy to handle the litigation part. You don't have to travel. The virtual hearings are going on. The GST appeals are virtual. So attending appeal sitting in Punjab of the Gurgaon or Mumbai, it is very easy. But at the same time, you require the drafting skills. The replies, which used to go into 10 pages, now runs into 40 pages, because without saying, you are making somebody to understand what your perspective is for the same thing. But it has opened a new era for all of us. GST litigation is a growing area. The litigation is yet to come in GST, my dear friends, because the tribunal will be set, it will be taken up. So what it requires is the sustainable efforts. Do not stop learning. Do not stop learning, because the life does not stop teaching you. So when it keeps teaching, keep learning. So next area after the GST litigation, which is one of the flourishing area, and lots of do it for not for the money's sake, just for learning's sake. See, what client pays you does not matter. Keep your service first, fee second. And see, the money will itself flow in. So keep yourself intact that I have to go into this area, I have to enter into it, try to grasp. It's a highly remunerative, but initial years needs investment. Even when a farmer grows anything, it has to give time. For organic farming, we all know they have to leave the land as it is for 1 or 2 years, which initially everybody finds it difficult. But once you give time to this area of practice, it will grow like anything. And it brings you not only the learnings, it brings you fame, it brings you lots and lots of money also follows the same with a lots of reputation. So litigation is an area in GST which is yet to be quite explored, where we can enter. Moving ahead, GST related jobs. Friends, what I have found in small or medium enterprises or in the initial stages of practice, sometimes we do not get the client, the bigger clients to handle for. So getting work, doing work under somebody who is an experienced person. So GST related jobs provides you exposure in each and every field, may it be consultation, may it be the compliance stage, may it be the GST litigation stage. So start initially by, although working under somebody, going for certain sort of practices to try to gain from the knowledge of others. So this can be one of the areas that you can enter, you can learn from their experience, and I've seen the number of persons, number of examples day-to-day time that I've seen that the people they work in particular under persons, then they learn from their experience and then they grow. So GST related jobs, mixed profiles, high-ends you get in this case. And the last G is GST academics or contents. So you see academics, none other than you see Virat ji. So none other than you see so many persons like who have entered this area. Not only this, when I talk about academics, like they are getting the conducted, they are providing a platform for the knowledge. You can be a provider of that knowledge too. So academic coaches, like nowadays we talk about the life coaches, the various other coaches, the ideas they provide. So likewise in GST, it will not only add to your knowledge, but writing a book will again clear your concepts and make you more independent, more confident that yes, I know the concept. Start with a small academic content or a book, writing articles or all these things actually adds up. And friends, don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. We talked about 5 Gs: compliances, consulting, GST litigation, GST job related works, GST academic or contents. Apart from that, GST global. GST global is an area, think beyond the boundaries. Your area in GST is not only limited to India, it is limited to world across. You have Dubai, you have UAE, you have many other countries where the GST is there in implementation. Explore those. ICAI have so many chapters all across. Today, when I was going through certain things, I found the CMP branch of the ICAI, that limb of ICAI, they have given the initiative. A number of initiatives must appreciate all these points. So global chapters are opening everywhere across the world. So utilize that. Don't limit yourselves to the boundary of the country. Being in the virtual world, sky is the limit. So you can sit here. Many of us, you see the big giants, like you have the persons who are hiring chartered accountants, where the CAs are working as employees. I have many clients who are into freelancing. So we have various companies like Genpack, they all are into it. They are using the services of chartered accountants. Then why we don't ourselves come for all these things? And many persons, they are doing really good in the field of global GST. global GST is also one of the unexplored area where you can come and you take up the GST at the global level. Then people says that GST audit is gone, so our opportunity is gone. I don't say this was an opportunity which has gone. Rather, do you think that a normal person can file the GST at 9 or 9? Chartered accountant, a professional can do so? According to me, no. We need so many webinars, so many studies, so much of time to go for all these. So this has added on. Now you can do it without even stamping it. So the liability has reduced, the remuneration remains the same. At the same time, apply for the departmental audits. So once you apply for all these, if your firms are eligible, go for it. Do capacity building. I know all the speakers have talked about it. It's a time to add on. A single person, like Murali sir also mentioned in his deliberation, a single person cannot do anything. Increase the client base by making bigger firms. See, if I give you our own example, if I am dealing in GST, my husband is dealing in income tax. So if a third partner is there who is dealing in company law matters, a client who used to come to you only for GST purpose can be converted into a client for income tax and company law matters, and for Benami matters, and so these are the various areas. Nobody can do. Lots of changes are there in every field. We cannot expertise in everything. I may not know all the income tax provisions. I may not know all the Benami provisions. So we have made teams. Make somebody a head of that team. I'm not saying don't explore the other areas. I know the provisions of income tax, but make a person who is given the ultimate responsibility for the same. Make him in charge that all the things for this area is to be looked after you. So convert it into the opportunities. So what I say, some people say we don't hardly get time to study. So my dear friends, you will never get time. You will never find time. You will have to make the time. In GST refunds, I know certain firms who are only under GST refunds or only under the appellate works and doing wonders with it. Choose GST. The people are expertising in particular fields. Use online platforms. Move to the cloud-based accountings. Give your client service first ingredient and make it short. The clients are not so loyal now as they used to be our generation back. Give them service. Give them the more success rate, timely and proper delivery of the performance. Please avoid last minute works. Although we are able to do it, sometimes we say, client, we are not available. Everybody understands everything nowadays. Provide him satisfaction. Chartered accountants, we cannot advertise, but the level of service, success, the 3S, satisfaction, we provide to our client is our advertising. So how you get the clients? Getting the clients is only not sufficient. Try to sustain the client. So may it be the GST field, may it be the any other field. GST, I found it very interesting. It's a new field, unexplored field where you can do wonders with it. But we nowadays have many unconventional sources. We have subsidy areas, artificial intelligence. People are really working into it. They are making the software, they're getting the SAPs implemented. Insolvency areas, you have succession planning areas. A number of areas are there. But out of those, GST is also the one which has really a pushback to the medium and small scale entrepreneurs and the chartered accountants who have come into it, and they are really doing it very great. So luck favors, the fortune favors, but never stop your efforts. Keep on doing it. And with this note, with one small quote in Hindi, I will be finishing it up. Luck matters, my dear friends. The hard work matters the more. The more you work, the more you dedicate yourself, the more luckier you will be. So I will say 2 lines. पसीने की स्याही से जो लिखते हैं अपने इरादों को, means if you really work hard to achieve your dreams, उनके मुकद्दर के पन्ने कभी कोरे नहीं हुआ करते. So that you cannot say that I could not achieve the success. So the mantra of success is work hard, whatever field it may be, GST, income tax, company law, non-conventional, like maybe any trading, whatever. Do it with your full passion, wholeheartedly. सोचने से नहीं मिलती उड़ानें, मंजिलों को हासिल करना पड़ता है. So with this, I end up my deliberation today, and thank you all of you for the patient listening. Over to you, Virat ji.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful deliberation. And as you told that one person cannot do or two-person cannot do, we have a session on networking, new networking guidelines for all the chartered accountants. We have scheduled that on CA Day on 1st July. So we welcome you all. And apart from that, would like to tell ma'am, your shairis are very wonderful. Next time we will call you on Kavi Sammelan or something like that, on some entertainment program, ma'am, or some motivational program, ma'am. Thank you so much,
सबको
ma'am.
डराने से कभी-कभी हंसाना भी चाहिए. So this is what the fun of the life is. To bring a smile on somebody's face is nothing can match that.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Once again, thank you. So now we are welcoming our next panelist, CA Narasimhan sir. Sir is a very famous personality all across the globe. Sir is an international speaker. We all know sir is a technology man as well. Sir is a regular speaker at many forums at our institute, Bombay Chartered Accountant Society, at our platform as well. Sir has taken in the past at KSC many. Sir has taken courses also on. Sir is a faculty for DISA, CISA, and blockchain technology as well. Sir is a written a book also, more than a 4 book for C Institute, for Karnataka C Association. Sir has taken session at Dubai, Malaysia, Bangkok, Saudi Arabia, Geneva, Doha, Nairobi, Singapore, Bahrain. So there are huge, great profile of sir is there. We welcome you, sir, once again on our platform, and thank you once again for accepting our invitation, sir. All yours, sir, for the today's session on celebration of International SMP Day. How SMP can be a bigger or larger in a quality work. So all over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. I hope my audio video are clear. Okay, great. Thank you. So thank you, Virat, for inviting me for yet another session. Dear participants, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe. I think there are lineup of various topics which are very interesting, which you, I'm sure, have been discussing without, you've been listening without getting your eyes and ears off the screen. The next area which I would probably spend a few minutes is to discuss and throw some light from a technology perspective, where there are a lot of opportunities which are opening up. Now, many of us say that, I want to do information system audit, and let me tell you, this is what is the area which is going to be of the future. In fact, you will not believe it. Future, most of the systems, the basic tasks are going to get automated, which means what will you audit? The functional logic is more or less getting automated. So what you're going to audit is the way in which the system is designed. You will be auditing the way in which the infrastructure is set up. You'll be auditing the way in which the entire, if I could probably put it, the technological environment is set up. And that is where IS audits have a huge role to play. Currently, IS audits are mostly to do with regulatory requirement, okay, or it is because there is a law such as the RBI mandates banks to have an audit, SEBI mandates security market intermediaries to have an audit, or insurance companies mandate for the sort of an audit. Now, within this framework, there are so many rules which keep on coming every year. You just have to be attentive of this. For example, a few years back, 2 to 3 years back, all insurance companies wanted to come up with their own e-commerce platform. And as a result of it, there was a need for companies, or was a need for an independent audit on the electronic commerce platform of insurance companies. Today, most of the insurance company you go, you can buy policy within their website. Correct? Gone are the days where I had to pay huge sum of money to a commission agent and therefore I used to procure it. Today, if I procure a policy directly, it's much more cheaper. In fact, there are companies who have come forward who have only digital means, no brokers, and they're offering services. Companies like Digit Insurance and ACO. Now, what these folks are doing is they're changing the business model. With every change in a business model, there is involvement of technology, and therefore you will be looking into that. Correct? So this is from a regulated side. On the mandatory, mandatory regulation, these have been clearly told. On the other side, any company who has internal financial controls mandatory or IFC mandatory or ICOFAR reporting mandatory, as an auditor, test the controls of the information systems. This is where huge potential, which is often untapped but is available. So what can you do? You can do an assessment of risk. You can do an assessment of information technology general controls. You can do an assessment of information technology application controls. Both of it I'll explain in a few minutes. And in addition, you can see what is the relationship between a financial control and an IT control and how both of them are going to work together. At the same time, you can express your opinion whether the technology controls are sufficient enough for achieving your internal financial controls. Example. You have 4 accounting tools or softwares which are being used by the organization for various purposes, invoicing, taxation, GST compliance, whatever talk about. And only 2 controls of them are very strong. Other 2 applications, there's user ID password being shared, it is not being backed up, and you have a bunch of this. Now, whether these 2 are a risk, the answer is yes. So what is the impact of these 2 on the entire IFC? It may be minor, it may be major, or it may be moderate depending upon your risk perception and the organization. So this is where you have a role to play. Assessing the interdependency between the various applications, between the various controls. And once you start defining it, my dear friends, you actually get to know there is a whole lot of potential in you identifying the risk. Not just this, you can do IT risk registers. Just like how you have process-specific RCM, you can prepare risk registers with probability, impact, and inherent risk. What could be all of this? And there are wonderful open source documents available for this. And in this, you don't have to restrict it only to one domain. You can do on strategy, what is popularly called IT governance. You can do it on security. You can do it on operations. You can do it on user access. You can do it on vendor management. You can do it on data privacy. You can do it on IT asset maintenance. You can do it on IT applications. So you can understand what is the scope and the depth in which you can do. And when you talk about access itself, you can do the access at the operating system layer, at the database layer, at the networking layer. Correct? And each of this, you can spend so much of time going into the depth of it. And that is where huge amount of opportunities arise. But this is one side of the IS audit. Okay. Now there are also other frameworks which mandate you to have some sort of a requirement. For example, you have what is called as the PCI, payment card industry standard. Now those of them who are dealing with payment card industry may require a sort of an audit. Correct? There is something where your Sarbanes-Oxley Act, the SOX, where if you are a typical US based company, listed company, and you have a subsidiary in India, the Indian subsidiary may have to be subject to these testings. Then you have the ISO 27001 and ISO 31001, the risk management standard or the information security management standard. See how you can implement that for your clients. And it's not a very complicated exercise. You will require an external agency to sort of certify, but the entire exercise can be performed by you. Then you have, for service-oriented companies, you have what is called ITIL, you have COBIT, you have COSO, you have the cybersecurity framework called NIST. Now see whether you can implement these for your clients. One often unexplored area is SSAE 3402. As a chartered accountant, you can sign a report on the systems and the organization controls at a service organization. And who is a service organization? Any person to whom you have outsourced certain activities. For example, you are auditing a client and the client has outsourced the payroll processing to some XYZ company. So you ask the XYZ company to give a statement of their controls. If they don't have, you can probably take up that engagement, implement SSA 3402 and do an audit of that. A lot of guidance is available in the ICAI website. So like this, which in the US parlance, this is called as SOC reports, SOC, Service Organization Reports. Whereas in Indian parlance, it is SSA 3402, and there is a huge potential within this. Correct? So this is where you can actually get started. Then comes a very interesting question. When is IS audited mandated? I already told you IRDA, SEBI, RBI. As a part of statutory audit, many statutory auditors do not have the expertise. Why don't you go and approach them saying that, sir, your client, you do the audit, I will do the IS audit part of it. Correct? I will test the control efficiencies. Then of course you have your internal financial controls I made a mention. Correct? Then there's sometimes many clients come forward and say, sir, we have implemented a system, we want to check whether things are in place. So process review. Do not think that, oh, he's implemented such a small tool, I will not spend time. In fact, your tally itself, people have implemented, they have made a lot of mistakes. You can do an entire diligence of that. As a part of internal audit engagement, add a small thing called as IS audit and get started. Over a point in time, you will get that experience. Because many of them say, sir, all these things are fine, but how do I get started? Where do I get experience? So get started, start doing certain things for free. Get started somewhere and then slowly keep on adding more into it. Then you have another domain of forensic audits where technology is involved. I will not spend too much time in forensics because we have another speaker talking on that. As a part of insolvency, IBC, insolvency practice, there are sometimes a requirement to either do a forensic audit or a system review and things like that. That's also an opportunity. Clients sometimes come up with specific requirements, or there are also cases where due diligences are performed, and as a part of due diligence, go ahead and say, hey, I will do a technology-based due diligence. My dear friends, these are all opportunities. We should go and tap it. Unless we go ahead and tap it, it will just be something which is dead, and it is going to be tapped either by these larger big fours, or perhaps it is just going to get unnoticed. So that is something on the space of what I call it as IT audits, IT audit citations. Then comes a whole lot of related services, additional things, doing an in-depth cybersecurity review, doing an in-depth data privacy. Data privacy is the new thing which is going to take up in India. In another 6 months to 1 year, India is going to have its own data privacy framework. So why don't you read what is data privacy? Why don't you see how these things actually come into play? So that's something on the data privacy standpoint. And when these things come on the data privacy side, there's a whole lot of opportunities. Forget about the rest of them. Can you implement data privacy requirements for my own firm? Those are questions we need to ask. There are a lot of things happening on this emerging technology. You have artificial intelligence, you have blockchain, you have IoT, you have AI. A lot of buzzwords are there. Understand these technologies. Perhaps 5 to 10 years down the lane, you may have to audit them. Or you find these are too much to handle, just to see how you can start using analytics or data analytics to get started. And let me remind you, data analytics is not something too complicated. All of us have been using it, but the number of tools available and the methodology through which you do it are plenty. Correct? There are a lot of data analytics courses available just by using Excel, which is free of cost, available in the internet. Why don't you go ahead and get started with it? See, you have a client data, get started with that. There's a wonderful opportunity in visualization, creating dashboards. Visualization dashboard as a service. You're doing already MIS and accounting for a client. You just do a small dashboard and give it to him for 2 or 3 months, free of cost. The 4th or 5th month, he will probably notice, unnoticed. 6th month, he may come back and say, sir, can you please give that? Yes, sir, we can do it, but it takes a little longer, maybe, from next year, or, after 2 or 3 months, anyways, the price may increase. So that can start negotiating it. That is where you actually add on something new to your kitty. Okay? And then a very, very interesting space, often not explored, is the domain of automation. Now, what do you mean by automation? You realize that there is a series of tasks with either you or your client are continuously performed, and you can actually automate that task. How do you automate it? You can use bots to automate with the help of RPA, or you can simply use Excel macros, etc. to do it. Or forget about Excel macros. Even within Excel itself, you can do so many things by just clicking that record icon and can repeat it. You have tools like UiPath, which has a free version, enterprise, I think it's called as a research version or something. Go ahead and give it a try. You just have to record it, do the activity and stop it and see whether the same thing gets replicated again and again. It's a question of trial and error. See whether you're accounting what you're doing for your clients, you can automate it. Your schedule 3 financial preparations, by having a simple sum if based formula or a lookup formula, you can sort of do it. And this is going to save some time. So remember, whenever technology we are considering, it is not just that I am focusing only on ABC or only on revenue earning. You can also focus on how you can save time and cost, correct? And you can do a whole lot of IT consulting advisory to people, because today, unfortunately, the presumption is that a CA, the domain expertise is only on finance and tax. Nothing wrong in it, but you need to prove to the world that you have much more beyond it, and that is where adding a few of these skill sets definitely helps you to get started. Then comes your futuristic domain, which is your advisory and consulting on blockchain, AI, and things like that. The institute has come up with wonderful guidance or concept notes on artificial intelligence, blockchain, on cloud. There are a whole lot of things available. Now think whether in future everybody is going to start hosting data on the cloud, which means we need to audit cloud-based applications. So that is one other opportunity. Okay. ICAI has come up with a recent audit course, which is called as Certified Cloud Auditing Knowledge. Go ahead and give it a try. What is wrong in it? See if you want to add on with some courses which the institute or the ICAI is offering. So like this, my dear friends, there are plenty of opportunities in the domain of IS audit, in the domain of technology, in the domain of automation, correct? So I hope I gave you a few thoughts on what exactly is this space and how you can penetrate and get started into this domain. Okay, I'll be happy to take any question and answers if you have any, or if it is sometime a little later, you can always post it to Virag and he will share it with me. We will be happy to discuss that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Virag. It was, as always, wonderful speaking.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very quick and to the point session. We are very thankful to you. And now we invite our next speaker, CA Siva Prasad, sir. So, Siva Prasad, sir, are you there, sir? Would like to request to come on screen, sir. Thank you, sir. So now, I think Chairman, sir, our Vice Chairman, sir, of committee, that our keynote address, Prasanna, sir, has also recognized your effort, sir, and also appreciate your effort. So I would do very less or limited to say, sir. Sir is a BCom, sir is a law graduate as well, a fellow member of institute. Sir has done cost accountancy as well. Sir is a DISA qualified. Sir is a great work experience. Served as a lead consultant on retainer basis to Andhra Pradesh Commercial Taxes, and at present practicing as a partner at since 2006 to 2018. Now
I can
presenting
skip all of that.
partner at SGRP and Associate LLP. So I think with this small introduction, I would like to request you, sir, to take the proceeding ahead for our today's session. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot for Viraj for inviting me on this, and it was a great learning experience. I have heard the galaxy of speakers who had spoken in front of me, and I know that another great speaker is to follow, Mr. Premnath garu. Okay, hope my audio and videos are clear, right?
Yes, sir, very clear, sir.
Yeah. So far I am speaking on certain technical subjects, either on GST or on the auditing tool on which I am working on. So this day the topic is a little rather at a macro level. The 5 major pillars that are there to boost the growth path on the audit. And I have heard the speakers also who had given great inputs, the anecdotes or the analogies that they have drawn, the importance of the capacity building and the pre-evaluation and the post-evaluation kind of a thing, pre-growth and post-growth, what the earlier speakers have mentioned is remarkable. Okay. When it comes to the growth, we must first identify our challenges. And as rightly said by my earlier speaker, a chartered accountant's profession is a kind of a different profession. And there is a clear demarcation between the other professions and our profession. All said and done, still we are being identified by the attest function, the audit and the attest function. When it comes to the audit and attest function, the growth platform, the growth grid, the pillars of the growth are totally different when it comes to the other functions that a chartered accountant do render, be it consultancy, be it any other sort of advisory or litigation, the GST litigation, which was discussed at length. When it comes to all of these, they are all on one side, and what I see is the attest function is on one side. Okay. I am in the attest function for a period of 12 years, 12 full years, and almost in the area of consultancy for 4 to 5 years so far. This is my 5th year. So when I have seen as a medium to a larger firm where I have worked, I have the experience of undertaking the public sector undertakings, central public sector undertakings, the central statutory audit of 2 banks, Oriental Bank of Commerce and Andhra Bank. So the platform, the requirement of a public sector undertaking and a listed company and a private smaller entity which we get to practice are totally different. Okay. So if we see, we have been thinking on the capacity building and the optimum size. Let me share my thoughts on that, on this optimum size. See, when we say that almost 70% of the profession is still proprietary concerns and majority of the entities are falling under less than 5 partner category, and only few less than 10% or above 5% category as a whole, we have to be very careful and watchful of this scenario versus the distribution of the business community as such. What is the same cross-sectional plotting analysis of the business community? Let us have a look at it. How many are proprietary entities? How many are into the tax audit? How many are into companies? I mean corporatized body corporates. How many of them are under the audit? This one. If we make a correlation between these two distributions, if the business community where the audit services are required are moving ahead from proprietary concern to some sort of a corporatization, even if it is an LLP or a company kind of a thing, and if a similar pattern, a symbiotic pattern is not emulated in the auditing profession, there is a clear mismatch. I don't feel that having number of proprietary concerns of chartered accountants is wrong. I don't feel that. But then we definitely add the percentage of the chartered accountants in proprietary or 2 to 5 category cannot overdo the same set of smaller entities in the business. So that is where the demand supply gap is. Of course, I'm deeply involved into some other thing. I don't have any statistics to present you on that, but then we have to be thinking on this area. The audit area is shrinking a lot. The audit area is shrinking a lot. The tax audit, the limits have grown 5 crore, 10 crore, depending on the cash transactions. The GST audit, of course, as an advisory, as a consultancy, they may come to us for the preparatory of the 9C, but then as a mandatory thing, it had gone. Okay. And by and large, if you see, as our Narasimhan sir had said, whatever is having a stronger business logic, whatever is having a clear pattern, that is not going to stay. It will be automated and there will be no necessity for manual intervention on that. In another speech, he had presented one beautiful report card as to what are all the jobs that are going to become extinct in near future, and accounting and auditing are topping the list. If we see the cross-sectional analysis where there is a clear change between the attest function and the non-attest functions, the various non-attest functions that we may carry out. First thing, we are being appointed by the one who is asking us to attest. Okay. And by and large, the receiver of this attest function is also still not a very wide cross-section unless it is a listed company. So that is where we have to be very, very careful about. If it is an advisory or a consultancy, it is on a value addition. It is on a value addition as much as we propose a value. So we are on the side of the person who is appointing us. Our mandate is clear. We are on the side of a person who is appointing us. So we are adding certain value, be it in the form of litigation or in a consultancy or something like that. But when it comes to a test function, to grow in the audit, because my topic is audit, what are the 5 pillars or 5 growth catalysts that promote the growth in the area of a test? In fact, to grow in the area of a test is the toughest of all the other things that a chartered accountant can do. Okay, if we want to grow in value add, if you want to grow on consultancy, it is very, very easy. It is very, very easy because the market enables us to grow. Whoever is performing well, the market enables us to grow. But in case of a test function, if you do better, what is doing better? To bring out all the difficulties in the financial statements and to put up the disclosures, the matter of emphasis paragraphs and all. And then obviously we are going against the even in the short term, at least. Maybe in a long term, it will do good to the SSE, the appointing body. That is a different issue. So therefore, the optimum size in of audit, when it is in a test function, we have to be very, very careful on that. Okay. When it comes to growth in a test or audit function, what are our first basic pain points? The amount of subject on which we have to give our comment on when it comes to true and fairness, be it the accounting standard or the Ind AS requirements, or be it the corporate governance requirements, upon which we want to or we have to give our audit opinion. The knowledge base is growing rapidly day by day, which is rendering the professional becoming obsolete very quickly. Okay. If you say the impairment test, the hugely impaired item is the chartered accountant's skill set itself. Okay. It is very difficult to cope up with the growing amount of knowledge. And what is the process of knowledge dissemination within the firm? What happens is, if one person of the firm is knowledgeable, that is a very big problem. Okay. Everything will get stuck at him. Everybody will be looking at him for his clearance or guidance. Okay. And then it is like delegation of everything to his. Only very minuscule or not so significant work will be done by rest of the team. But then how to have a knowledge dissemination system? Okay. So my 5 pillar, what I have identified and studied is, first one is the knowledge dissemination. If we want to be in audit or a test function, let me repeat it at the cost of repetition. I am saying it again, because on a consultancy or some other kind of a thing, individual talents do add. But when it comes to a test, it is never an individual function. It is not possible to be an individual function. It has to be a team function. So therefore, first one is the team building has to happen within the firm, where the knowledge gets disseminated equally, or at least equivalently in proportion to the work that they have to do. Now, how to do this? Okay, can we convene a seminar or can we convene some sort of a knowledge dissemination activity? Not possible. It is too theoretical. Even CPEs are there, even study circle meetings are there. The calendars are simply thundered by the amount of seminars or webinars, but it is not going to help, because the knowledge has to be cut to the requirement. See, if I am filling up of a questionnaire, I have to get a guidance very localized. The amount of personalization that is happening in the real world, if you see the mobiles, the iPods, the TVs, the broad TVs and all, how they are getting personalized, the same amount of personalization of knowledge, customization of knowledge is not happening in the audit. The only solution is we have a tool. Must have a tool where for each of a questionnaire, for each of a report, for each of, not at a very broad level, but cut out to a very smaller level, to one particular question. Let us say 2061H or some other section had come recently for TCS. On that, the questionnaire, the user has to fill if the head partner had updated himself, whether the whole of the team is updated in order to bring out the deficiency. Okay. So what is, can we go into some sort of an LMS kind of a thing? That is also a very difficult area. Okay. Because that will sound too academic and will be too away from the real life auditing. So therefore, the first thing is we must have the interlaced knowledge, where the context-based one, not a huge information overload is the problem of today because of the information revolution. We must have the relevant, cut short, quick notes that will enable the team to do the job. Okay, the first one is when it comes to that. Now, then how to have a system of the flow of the audit, the flow of the audit. See, if somebody in our office does the work, will it get escalated to our attention immediately? What is the way that we have put in place that our juniors' work is getting escalated to us and our work is getting escalated to the next team? What is the process that we have built? What is the process that we have built? If that is not there, almost 50 to 60% of chartered accountants' time is in fact going not into the auditing, but into organizing the audit. So this will definitely have its own impact on the quality. First of all, leave the quality aside. At least on the cost and the time of the audit, when it comes to us, it will become a major differentiating factor between a successful auditing enterprise and an unsuccessful auditing enterprise. So we must have a flow. We must have a flow, a free, seamless flow where the audit working paper of one person gets escalated immediately to the, like a maker checker concept. The one that is done by the one person, if it requires the attention of the next person for him to be put in a report, or maybe to make a disallowance in income tax, or maybe to give a disclosure in 9C, or whatever it is. So he must have a very clear-cut, smaller screen where he will only give his decision. Rest of it has to be taken care by the process itself. Okay. So the next one is the process that we have to build around where the audit flows in a systematic, sequential, and both sequential and an orbital manner. So have we got that in place? And if that is not going to happen, these smaller utilities like putting our files on a drive or a VPN network or a Google Drive, this is all the hardware part of the audit. Okay, though they are the software utilities that will enable us to ease out the document management, or to have a version control, or to have a what you call that a collaborative editing on our MS Office files or something like that. Still, I feel all of these on a very hardware scale. Okay, the soft part of that is the skill part of the smart part of that is whether the relevant notes is getting to the attention of the relevant person on a timely manner. This is a process that we have to build. So that is what I take as the step number 2. Okay, or the pillar number 2. Okay, then pillar number 3 is the carry forward of the learning, the carry forward of the skill, the carry forward of the process. Okay, that is, in a way we can call it as machine learning. Okay, how machine learns? Let us see how machine learns. Machine can never learn, first of all, because machine is not having a faculty to learn. What we call as machine learning is nothing but the averaging out of the earlier precedents. Like in a given precedent, this had happened. In a given precedent, this has happened. If we are feeding a cause and an effect repeatedly over a machine, the machine will come to a deduction that in this case, this is more likely. If this is the cause, this effect is more likely. So even then the machine says it is more likely, it can't conclude that it will happen. Okay. Now, what is that kind of a learning that we have embedded into the audit? The knowledge is still personal. So it had to be made into the process. So what I mean to say is, if I have rendered certain analytics in Excel, like I have taken a fixed asset register, I have run few queries, like all vendors exceeding this much, value exceeding this much. Okay, and upon this work had to be done. Next year, if I open up the file, whether it had got any of a stored procedure concept, like last year I conducted it this way, so that way can the same steps be repeated on the same data again, or shall it have to be done manually again? Okay. Unless we put this in place, this is not going to happen. Okay, and the fourth pillar, what I feel like is, of course, in the function of attest, we must have the scalability. It is impossible for few great individuals to make into a good, successful attest enterprise or auditing enterprise. Not possible, because so much the organization is, we must have a balance on our side also. So therefore, capacity building, team broadening is one of the crux. Okay, like even if it is a huge case, we can go and approach a single lawyer and he can advocate depending upon his knowledge bank. It is possible. Even for us in the sort of litigation practice, we can do. Okay. But when it comes to audit, it is not the knowledge alone that drives. There is an executory connotation to the audit. It is not sufficient if we are knowledgeable. We must have the executory paraphernalia with us. Without that, our knowledge is not going to translate into work. Not possible. For that, we must have an balanced or an optimum size of the team. Okay. See, the growth that had happened in the accounting world, both in terms of the size and the scale. So much of listed companies, so much of bigger or mid-sized companies, companies having turnover more than 100 crores. So many firms of 10 partner firms or 12 partner or 15 partner firms are not there to match the industry. That is one part. And look at the way the accounting profession had translated itself over time. Okay, from a small manual to automated ledger to individual softwares to ERP. Okay, now lot of, even we get to see in a very small towns, the enterprises are using SAP or SAP B1 or some other kind of an enterprise ERP kind of a software for their accounting function. Whether the skill set, whether the automation that had happened in the accounting is properly reflected by the auditing, which is its sister function, or it's a online symbiotic linked function, I feel no. Okay, so the next one is the scale and the infrastructure, and what I feel the fifth one is the patience, the waiting. Okay, because it is not individual driven, it is process driven, because it requires a lot of translation of that. Patience, of course, is definitely one of the most required pillars, because we have to keep our job going on, and that only how we will get recognized in the market. So coming to the leaving apart the fifth, I think my time is up, right? Yeah. Leaving the fifth one, the first four functions require a very strong hand-holding from the side of technology. Okay. Still, if we see, as I said, I'm in the process of I'm a part of a team where I'm lending the domain expertise on the development of a tool. Okay, I have also showcased it in the same forum maybe 1 month back, convened by Viraj again. Okay, I have also showcased it to a few other entities, and they were also using. So the point is, we must build an ecosystem for auditing as such. Auditing is a very wide function. Document management is a small part. Office management is a small part. Work allocation is a small part. What you call the data analytics, pure science, just number crunching and coming out with some key takeaways or outliners is one part. So we require an ERP. Because each one of them, document management, office management, or some other kind of what you call the data analytics, all of these individually, they themselves are deserving a full-scaled utilities, be it software or some other kind of an enterprise solution. Not only that we require each one of them, but we require an integrated one which will speak to one another. All the compounds speak to one another. And the time is, we must have an ERP kind of a thing. By ERP, I never meant that it has to be very big in its size. By ERP, what I mean is all the units are talking to each other. If I do the document management, the work allocation has to be linked. If I do my data analytics, the work allocation has to be linked to that. The working paper management has to be linked to that. Okay. Unless we have all of this, much of our executory time will be lost on the maintenance part of that rather than the real execution. Okay. So that is what my my understanding of the subject, and that is what is also driving me. And I thank the Connect Easy group and Viraj Shaji and my co-speakers for getting a stage to where to express my views on that. I think I learned much than what I have spoken today. I thank all the co-speakers for that. With this, I hand it over back to Viraj Shaji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It's your humbleness that you are telling that you learn lot, then you deliver. But I think you have deliver your entire experience, and we are very grateful to you, sir. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Now we invite our next panelist, CA Hardik Chokshi, for our forensic topic, which is very interesting and very futuristic. So would like to request Hardik bhai to come on screen. Yeah,
Hi, Virat, how
welcome
are you?
Hardik bhai.
I'm sorry, I'm
Yes,
little
sir. Thank
just casually for
you.
Saturdays. Is okay.
Andy.
So, Virat, how much time do I have?
Yes, sir. So we have a sufficient time, sir. You can take your time. Let me introduce first. See, Hardik Chokshi is a senior partner at Chokshi and Chokshi Chartered Accountant firm and has been in practice for almost 18 plus years since 2003 and has been the evolution of our profession over the years and successfully established many innovative services for the firm. He is involved in risk management and information technology, forensic, digital transformation, and business valuation. His current passion involves mentoring digital companies in the audit ecosystem as well as mentoring young chartered accountants. His AML and forensic experience include assisting in high-level investigation in mutual fund, wound-up schemes, Bollywood drug case matter, which is very recent, special audit of bank for RBI, fair valuation of IPL cricket teams, and also work for agency like Enforcement Director, Narcotic Control Bureau, SFIO, and CBI as well. Sir has co-authored a book such as Practitioner's Guide to Audit of Small Entities 2019 edition and Internal Audit of Mutual Fund for the ICAI, a book on non-banking financial companies, a treatise for Bombay Chartered Accountants Society. Sir is an active speaker at several seminar, training program, and conferences. Contribute to his views on bank LFR, forensic valuation, due diligence, internal audit, and NBFC at various forums. So we are very thankful to you, sir. Thank you so much. Yesterday, sir has inaugurated our AML webinar series, which is for 3 days, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So again, sir, it's our pleasure to host you today as well on celebration of International SMP Day. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Virat. I'll be very fast and rest assured we'll complete fast. Virat, could you just help me with sharing the screen? I'm not able to share my presentation.
Yes, sir.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Can it be seen?
Yes, sir. Perfect. Perfect. Please continue.
So thank you, Virat, for your, as always, you've been very nice and kind to everyone, and thank you for calling me here. I'm again humbled in front of this August crowd. Sorry, I know I have never celebrated an SMP day in my life, but I think I'm taking this opportunity, and I really wish the good for everyone. Completely, moving to the forensic side of the practice, which Virat has informed me to speak about. Of course, these views are personal in nature and they do not represent my organization. So, Virat, is the slide being seen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Capacity building. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, of course, I mean, there's a 5-point success which Virat told me about. Well, really, this is something which really made me think a lot. It's just 5 slides, but it made me think a lot that really what are the 5 points of success? And this is something that I've tried to bring it out in my way. So I think the first is, of course, capacity building. When we look as an SMP, any practice, be it forensics, be it audit, tax, advisory, I mean, the view has to be that the world has to be my stage. So end of the day, we have to look at a practice just not from an India perspective, we look at a global perspective, because opportunities are unlimited and we have to try as SMPs to maximize on those opportunities. So how do we really do it, and how do we really start building upon the capacities? One of the first view is, of course, empowering Indian SMP firms. So guys, typically we have seen in the audit industry, and everyone is well aware of it, that empowering Indian SMP firms has been a very vocal talk in today's times. And I believe that unless and until one SMP does not empower another SMP, or one Indian firm does not company does not empower another Indian SMP firm, I do not see the capacities being built. So I think it's very important that everybody works with each other. I mean, of course, my first project, if I can really say, was with the public sector unit, and it went with a lot of convincing them that yes, we have the teams, we have the resources to execute the project. So, Virag, when we talk about empowering Indian SMP firms, what are we looking on the capacity building side? We are looking at having a team at the start of the project itself. So likewise, just look at yourself. You're going to a client, a potential client, and you're telling them that, see, guys, I'm going to execute this project for you. And the first question which he's going to ask to you, okay, do you have a team? At that point of time, we should not be looking around for teams. You should be going with a team, and the team building can happen. It can happen an internal team. It can happen through networking guidelines of the ICAI. So I think that's a brilliant guidelines which I would like to talk about. So when we're talking about capacity building, it's all about having your teams in place. Networking guidelines of the ICAI, they have been recently announced again. Of course, they were there in the past, and over the years they have been, refined and purified, and it's really come out very well. And I think how one would like to look at these networking guidelines, one of them being a lead firm model. So the question in today's times, friends, is that what do you really look at it? Do you look at your forensic practice as a generalization practice, or do you look at it as a specialization practice? And both views are very much tenable in that sense. And I think the networking guidelines, there's a lead firm model which is available, which probably will help in or assist in showcasing your broad teams. When we're talking about networking, we are talking about working with fellow chartered accountants. We are working with company secretaries, lawyers, computer engineers, everybody whom we could partner with, whom we believe that could bring value to a client project as a chartered accountant. Technology, of course, this has been the talk of the town. I mean, for the last 18 months almost, and we have seen that how technology has really evolved the practice, and it will continue to evolve. So I think there's been a lot of discussion on technology, so I won't be discussing too much on that, but just 2 or 3 things which I believe would enable a very fruitful forensic practice. One is automating a lot of repetitive tasks. In a forensic practice, there are a lot of tasks which are pretty much stereotyped, and there are a lot of tasks which are based once those analytics are completed. So long as it is possible to automate some repetitive tasks, that would be really a welcome stage. Let's say, for an example, we're trying to do a mapping of funds from one bank account to second to third, and third to fourth. Whether it is really possible to automate these tasks. If yes, we should make every effort so that this cuts the time of the project. The second point is, of course, reinvesting in technology. I believe that every SMP firm like ours, we have all gone through this stage that we have to continuously manage our cash flows. So investing in technology becomes an item which may not be on the priority of the list. But in today's times, without a technology tool available, it will not be in realistically position to execute a project. So I believe that one should reinvest some portion of your cash flows every month in any technology tool, which you believe could be used just not for your forensic purposes, but for other practice areas and areas also. My third point, of course, is consistencies in expectations versus deliverables. I think this is one of the major matters, for an SMP firm, and I like to take some time around this. When we are going for a project, and we are saying we are a Make in India CA firm, there are certain expectations which are being drawn out in the forensic project from you. One, of course, is that you are really able to execute the project. And the question which comes up to you is that, can you deliver this project in this time frame? Now, these time frames may be very rigid. These time frames may be, at times, not achievable also. So the question which comes that, before you give that level of commitment to your client or to your potential client, you need to be very sure that, yes, I will be able to execute this project in so and so time. I mean, that should be one of the major considerations in any forensic project, because any time gap reduces the values of the project and the organization who's conducting this audit. developing audit SOPs. What happens that in an SMP firm, the typical challenge is that the people keep on changing on the ground. So you're really not expecting a lot of training to happen on a continuous basis. I mean, that is something that you would never want. I believe that this training time can be reduced to an extent, not to a larger extent, but to a general extent, if internal audit SOPs are developed. These internal audit SOPs are to the SMP firms on its own audit methodologies, and this would enable to execute the project on with far better quality controls. The third point, of course, is the highest level of quality of reporting. Friends, in a forensic project, what is most important? That the report just doesn't get submitted on time. It tests the quality of legal scrutiny. Every forensic audit is subject to a legal scrutiny, and trust me, guys, a lawyer in the court can tear apart your forensic report if we are not in a position to defend our audit report with the sufficient audit evidences. A good quality of reporting would mean a very simple language of reporting, which is understandable, which is digestible, and which can be correlated with every evidences. So I think a quality of reporting is highly important in a forensic audit. Looking within existing clients, so this is one question which keeps on coming up to me time and again. How do we really look for new opportunities? And my say of the matter is that why look for outside when you can look within your own existing clients. So let's say, for an example, you're auditing a bank, and or you're auditing a insurance company. So you can just go and talk to the bank and tell them, see, let me do one thing. Within this particular scope of work, I will take up one area of audit, which I will do with an investigation approach. So that would enable probably the start of building up your internal experiences and expertise. This is very relevant because forensic audits do work on an empanelments. There are IBA empanelments, there are other bank empanelments. So there are multiple empanelments, there are regulatory empanelments, and every empanelment, besides the size of the firms, also keep on seeking a lot of experiences of the organizations. So I believe that one should look within your existing clients, and in case you have already done it in the past, I believe that you should relook at those papers, get those scope of work documents out, and bring it out as your experience whenever you're trying to pitch for a forensic project. You're expanding your forensic service portfolio. So of course, what happens that there is a current IBA panel which typically looks after the bank borrowers frauds ID, and a lot of people are trying to see that let's look at bank borrower frauds. But I would look at the other way, that yes, that is an opportunity, but besides that, there are ample of other opportunities, whether it's cyber securities, whether it is anti-money laundering, whether it is a fraud risk assessment in any function in a bank that you're auditing. So I believe that the opportunities are ample, and within your own existing clients, you should try to evaluate and see if where we can do one area of advisory to the client. Yes, see, let me just do one area of forensic for you, and I believe we'll be able to give you some good value addition. So I believe that one should try to look within the existing clients. And lastly is mentoring and fellowship. I think it's important to say that and that the profession has always been there for the members, the young members. I remember my first day when I passed out 2003, and I asked my father, what should I do? And the first thing he did was he sent me to a mentor outside the firm. The very reason being is probably I get a new idea, new perspective, and the opposite person who was equally a practitioner, well known, was more than welcome, more than happy to welcome me and guide me, that yes, see, this is what you could be doing, or this is what you may probably look at. So I think mentoring and fellowship within the profession is very strong, and one should keep on outreaching the senior members, or one should keep on promoting youngsters. I must tell that promoting youngsters, when it comes to, I think we are blessed to have so many students within our profession, I mean within our firm. So we are and the students of today's times are so quick and fast that there's so much of work which ideally would have taken 3 days or 4 days to complete. These young students are able to innovate and do it in a much quicker and faster turnaround time. So I believe that we have to keep on promoting youngsters, new thought processes in your audit procedures. So this probably will help in building a larger and a more broader team within your own organization. So I mean these are one of the few 5 points which could come to my mind, Virag and everybody here. And I hope that I'm able to spell out in this very quick time what are the opportunities for everyone here. Thank you, Virag.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful address in a limited time, and it's really appreciable, sir, that you have covered almost all areas. And now we can welcome our final speaker, CA Premnath, who is we can say a backbone of entire today's program. Premnath, sir, please come on screen. Would like to request Premnath sir to on his camera. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So, sir is a highly qualified. We can say sir has done DISA, FAFD, forensic course as well. Sir is have done Bachelor of Commerce from Sri Venkatas University, Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh in Vivek 1987, before my birth. So, sir, my experience or my age is less than your experience, sir. Presently, sir is a partner at Ramachandra and Company Chartered Accountant firm at Hyderabad. Sir has done a entire experience is full of knowledgeable as internal, external, and forensic audit of large manufacturing, infrastructure, software, PSU companies, bank, central statute auditor, branch auditor, concurrent and revenue audits, income tax representation, including international taxation, transfer pricing. There is design and review of standard of operating procedure as a part of SAP implementation of in audit, study, review, and audit of internal PSUs, large manufacturing and private manufacturing.
Stop. It's enough. It's enough. Thank
there
you.
There is a faculty also at many places, sir. So we are very thankful to you, sir. You come again and again on our platform addressing all the attendees. Thank you so much, sir. And you can now start our today's very important subject, ethical practice. So over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Virag. I hope my screen is shared now.
Yes, sir. Screen is shared. Just make it a full screen, sir. F5 mode, slideshow mode. Otherwise, it is all fine, sir. Yeah, perfect, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Virag, for your kind words of introduction. And thank you very much for accepting this small proposal we made, myself and then Vijay Srinivas and then Siva Prasad. We could design this. Then you have accepted it with great heart. Thank you very much. So today's topic is on ethical practice. The bottom line, what we all needs to understand as a professional, the meaning of professional needs to be boiled in every atom of our body. The meaning of that is profession is generally defined as any type of work which needs a special or a particular skill, often which is respected because it involves a high level of education and skill. So this is the first and foremost very important point, that every professional should realize that we are professionals. We are one among 130 crores of population in India. We are 3 lakhs and odd. And this 3 lakhs and odd is a small minuscule of 130 crores of population. We are entirely different from them. The first and foremost thing we all need to again and again understand even in the deep consciousness of our sleep. We can never afford to forget that we are professionals first thing. In every part of our life, we should first think that I'm a professional. So first thing, first and foremost important thing is this. And with this understanding, we move on into the ICAI motto. I'll not go into the Ayesh Shuptesh Jagrati, reading all the full sloka, but the meaning of this, the person who is awake in those that are asleep. This itself says that I'm always awakened. And that's what I said here. A professional is always awake in deep consciousness, and that happens only with skill and knowledge. And this is a motto. We are fortunate that we got this motto from Vedas and Upanishads. We take more into it now. Then now let's walk into the code. The second most important thing that we all should again remember in our deep consciousness, all our efforts is in the public interest, not self-interest, not individual client, not the employing organization. Let me make it very clear. My session, you will like my session only if you accept to these two statutory warnings. One warning is profession is with skill, and we are 3 lakhs. We need to be different among 130 crores of population. You should accept this. And the other thing one should accept, if you have to listen to my speeches, that we render services in the public interest, not exclusively to satisfy the needs of individual client or employing organization. Is this possible? Yes, it is possible. I'll take you through how it is possible. And if it is not possible, if I am not doing in the interest of public, then I am dead. I have a body, I have a living, I just inhale oxygen as a dead body, but not as a human being. If I am not in the presumption that I am a professional and I am not rendering in the public interest. So how is this possible? Let's move forward. The total overview of the code is broken into 3 parts. The first part is for the professional accountant. Second is professional accountants in service. 3 in public practice. And then the independent standards and all. So I'll just take up only 5 important things among all this. The basic framework of the code is built on 5 most important things. I can say 5 can be related to the panchendriyas, like taste, then skin, senses, vision, and so on and so on. So those 5 most important principles on which the code is built is integrity, which is otherwise known as morals and dharma. Next is objectivity, that is unbiasedness, means I'm not attached to. One is morals and dharma, or morals, integrity and dharma. Then objectivity is unbiased. Professional competency is efficiency. How efficiency comes out is if I am unbiased and if I have morals, automatically the professional competence comes out with confidentiality and professional behavior. These are the 5 important things. I read out again. Integrity, objectivity. Integrity is morals and dharma. Objectivity, the unbiased. Professional competency, the efficiency. Confidentiality needs to be maintained. Professional behavior is skill or knowledge. Now, unless these 5 parts are there, I cannot be called as a professional. And that's what is Lord Rama called as. Lord Rama is called as Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha, meaning if you take the total dharma and put it into the form of a human being, you can see Lord Rama. I can say Chartered Accountant Vigrahavan ICAI code, meaning if the total code is poured into a form of a human being, that human being should reflect like an ICAI code, meaning ICAI code is nothing but the Dharma. Let's walk into it. So as I said, the integrity is towards the honesty in all professional behavior and business relationships. Objectivity is not to compromise on professional and business judgments, not to be biased, not to have conflict of interest, not to have undue influence of others. And to this extent, you have a lot of sections in Companies Act, not only Companies Act, code, then standards and whatnot. And professional competency through high level of knowledge and skill. That is what I said. The meaning of professional is skill and skill, knowledge and skill required at employing organizations. And that is only based on the technical and the professional standards, meaning without code of conduct, without ethical standards, nothing can be achieved in terms of technical and professional standards. I say the first ingredient, which is the cause and effect of technical and professional standards, is ethical standards. If I don't have ethical standards, there is no meaning for technical and professional standards. I just go out and then give some examples again here. Then I need to act according to the technical and professional standards. Confidentiality, of course, I need to maintain it because I'm in close touch with the client confidential information. And I can maintain confidentiality if I am not spreading it. If I am spreading it, meaning I am trying to explore the confidential information of the clients, meaning if I am greed of power, if I am greed of money, then I break my morals and dharma and then I start spreading it. Even if I am not greed, if I am trying to reveal the confidentiality with a loose tongue, then I don't have a professional behavior, meaning for my entertainment's sake, if I talk very loose on the confidentiality, then I'm not a professional, I'm not a professional behavior, meaning professional behavior to comply with relevant laws and regulations to avoid conduct that the professional accountants should know might discredit to the professional, meaning wherever I am, I need to behave professionally. Now that's what I said. It all talks about the ingredient. Now what makes like cause and effect, or vicious circle and cause and effect, what gives rise to the another? How can I maintain integrity? How can I behave dharma with dharma? How can I have morals? How can I be unbiased? How can I be efficient? And what makes me to have professional skills? Let us borrow these things from the great code of conduct for the human beings, that is none other than the Bhagavad Gita. So it says the code, the ICAI code is none other than Bhagavad Gita for professionals. And what Bhagavad Gita says? What Bhagavad Gita says is Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva Kim Kurvata Sanjaya, meaning this is the very first sloka of Bhagavad Gita. Dhritarashtra, the blind man, the stakeholder, is asking Sanjaya, the most intelligent man, is asking Sanjaya what's happening on the Kurukshetra field. That is the first word of Bhagavad Gita. Then Sanjaya, then this is the literal meaning of this sloka. But I would like to read it in a different form. That is, looking at the professional behavior, the last part of 5 aspects. It says here, it uses the word here kuru. Kuru is to carry out. Kuru, kshetre kshetre, meaning kuru, you carry out the activities at every kshetre with dharma. Meaning, it says kuru, kshetre kshetre with dharma. And what is dharma? Integrity, moral. Where it says professional behavior. Professional behavior is fully defined in this very first sloka of Bhagavad Gita, and that's what we said. The 5 important principles. One is contributing to the other. That is, integrity is contributing to objectivity, to professional competency, confidentiality, and professional behavior, and again to the integrity. And then, how can we do this? You can do it with what again the sloka says: Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Ma karma phalaheturbho mate sangostya karmane. How can I do this? It says that you can do it when you are not attached. It says you have a right to do the karma, but never on any fruits thereof. You should never be motivated. And to this extent, you have objectivity. And to this extent, you have objectivity, the second principle of 5 principles. It says you can't quote on the amount of money that the client earns. I'm just taking parallelly to the code and the Bhagavad Gita, with which we can really be maintaining the 5 principles of objectivity. Let's move on again to the next level. So these are the 5 principles. It says integrity. That's what I said. What is the cause and effect? What is the cause and effect, and what is the vicious circle which makes us to be integrity, which makes us to be dharma, Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha? What makes us to be chartered accountant? What makes us to be chartered accountant is if I inhale and exhale the code unconsciously, then automatically I am Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha. Integrity, objectivity. Integrity gives rise to objectivity because dharma says that you don't get attached to it. And when I'm doing it, automatically it's giving rise to being unbiased. And that itself gives me a professional competency because I'm not taking any one side. I'm like a devil's advocate looking at on both sides. And that's what making me to explore all the 360-degree view of the knowledge. And with that, I'm confidential, maintaining the confidentiality, and that itself gives the high level of skill and knowledge and the behavior, and that itself again giving back to the integrity and so on. And that's how I can be unbiased is the 50. It says buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukruta dushkrute tasmad yogaya yujjasa yoga karma kaushalam. Meaning, one who prudently practices the science of work without attachment, get rid of both good and bad actions in this itself. Meaning, therefore strive for yoga, which is the art of working skillfully. And this is what we have been doing it in the articles, and even now and forever. It says buddhi yukto, meaning that who prudently practices. Yes, we have been doing it, whether it is profit or loss, whether the valuation goes this side or that side, whether the case is won or not, whether the evidence is this side or the other side. If you are not attached to it, yes, it's a science of work. And the moment you are not attached to the outcome of it, and that's what Karmanyevadikaraste says. If I'm not attached to it, if I'm attached to it, I go blindly into it. I'll just come back with more examples into it. With here, our nature of work is such that we are always attached. Our nature of work is such that we are always attached. We need to be attached, but still, if I am not expecting anything from that attachment, then I am having buddhi yukto. And that's what I say here. Like, say, for example, if I am talking about a clinically detached, skilled job like filing a small, like, say, for example, a client comes for a capital gains calculation. If I just take the capital gains calculation, a not so complicated one, and give it away with some expertise on the, say, if I'm talking about a land getting converted into an apartment, and then joint development agreement and GST, all those issues, then an expertise focus. If I just make out a capital gains calculation and leave it up there, then I'm not attached into it. Now he says, no, I need to reduce my taxation. Now you give me a tax planning so that I'll reduce. Then it focuses into the efficient, accurate listening area where I am going traveling with the client. When I start traveling with the client, I'm just getting attached. And instead of asking a fees, I may start asking a floor into it. And when I start asking a floor into it, and if on the other day, if some critical cases come onto that building, probably along with the client, I'm going to die with him. Now, this is what I'm saying. Most of our job makes us to be with relational friendship. In certain things, I am completely friendly, involved, and knowledgeable. And certain things, I'm economically effective basis, like just filing compliance practices. If I'm doing a compliance practice, then I need an execution focus into it. Even in this, I need not be attached. Even at this level, I need not be attached. Anywhere, if I'm attached in these, then I'm stepping into the shoes of promoter. When I step into the shoes of promoter and start thinking from the promoter's point of view, naturally I get attached to his profits. And when I start attaching to his profits, losses are also part of profit. And that's where you have this 62nd thing. Dhyayato Vishayan Punsa Sangasteshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamat Krodho Vijayate. Meaning, when contemplating the object of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. And this is what I said here. When you start involving yourself into the client's business as a promoter, as a partner, and all these things will happen, and then lust arises, and with that attachment then happens, then it is krodhod bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibraham smriti bhramsat buddhinasat pranashyati. Meaning, it says from anger delusion arises, and from delusion it is bewilderment of memory, and memory loss, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pole. And when one losses and falls into the material pole, then there is no professional behavior. And when there is no when there is no professional behavior, there is no integrity, there is no objectivity, there is no professional competency, no confidentiality. And then this vicious circle is taking back into natural death. And professional competence, again, our job requires programmatic, non-programmatic, highly client risks. We are involved certain times, as I've said, and these are all the areas where programmatic, then low client risks. Then these are all the efficiency. If you travel towards the right side, you are traveling towards the right side, efficiency side. And if you are traveling up, you are traveling towards expertise. If you're, as long as you are with consulting, strategic consulting, without attached to it, and we are away from this risk. Tax advices, complex high risk problem, client seeks expertise but not involvement. Wherever, this is a place where client expects involvement. What I say is, if you're traveling above, if you're traveling out of this reach, then we are into danger. If you are here, straightforward routine problem, client does not need a consulting but wants a speedy disposition at a low cost. Now, once if I'm traveling out of my areas, then if I'm getting attached, then that's where we are dragged out of professionalism. And it says again, raga dvesha viyuktastait vishayan mindre sharan atmavasyai vidheyatma prasadam abhigacchati. That one who controls the mind and is free from the attachment and aversions, even while using the objects of senses, attains the grace of God. Meaning, even if I am attached, even if I am closely with the clients in consulting, but I am nowhere attached to the result, and nowhere attached to the result is unbiased. And that's what it says, do charge, but charge not as a percentage. And under these situations, it says you have attained the God's things. So it says again, Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasya prasanna chetaso hasya buddhi paryavatistate. That is, the divine grace comes, the peace in which all sorrows end, and the intellect of such person tranquils mind soon with firmly establishes in the God. And that's what I'm saying here. Once you are not attached in any of these outcomes, either profit or loss, when we are only expertly involved in it, expert involved is with professional behavior, and we are out and we are nearing to this. And the behavior is when you are executing it, have a strong delivery. When your experiences at the middle level, problem solution knowledge based, you need to give a strong service. And when you are giving one of the project creative brains and all, you need to give a strong ideas. So this is how, if you are able to arrange without attachment, I think we can achieve success. And that's what it says. Ya nisa sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisa pashyato mune. And this is what we have started with the opening remarks, that what all beings considered as day is the night of ignorance. That is, all 130 crores of population thinks, if I am also thinking in the same way, that I am not a professional. And what all creatures see as night is a day for introspective stage, meaning is those who, that person who is awake in that sleep is a person called as a chartered accountant. And you may say, how do I earn my fees and all? As I say, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha, meaning as long as you are on the path of dharma, everything will start moving on to yourself. And that's what is practiced by many prominent chartered accountants, and those are all for our example. Thank you. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful address, sir. It's like we can listen more and more with your words. It's really wonderful, sir. We want to listen more and more despite we already crossed around 20-25 minutes ahead of scheduled time, but it's happened. It's real wonderful, sir. So thank you so much, sir, for your great address, sir. And thank you for this making their structure and having this session. So thank you once again, sir. So with this, I think we have a few panelists also with us. Piyush Chhajed sir also with us. Siva Prasad sir, also Hardik by Chokshi is with us. I think he's offline at present. Any concluding remarks from any panelist? We can start from Piyush bhai.
No, it was very good to hear all the panelists. Superb exposure, I think so, for MSP has. And I'm sure it has been enlightenment for everybody. And if medium and small practitioners actually follow what the panelists have said, the theme of this program, which is 50% growth of 5 years, 5 point, definitely will be successful. And as I stated, it will not be 50%. I'm sure it will be double growth in 5 years terms. I'm sure. So all the best to it. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the panelists and Virag for conducting such a beautiful program. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. Siva Prasad sir, any concluding remarks, sir?
The voice is not clear, Siva Prasad.
Siva Prasad sir, your audio is now, we are not able to listen to, sir. I think now it's okay, sir. Please continue.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, it's audible.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Please continue, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah. It was a very, this thematic seminars shall be the motto for future, sir. There is a very beautifully organized, and the way it was conceptualized itself is great. So as said by Piyush ji, it is not 50% growth. We should aim for double the growth, and it is possible. The market is huge. The potential of the market is huge, and with the with the collective good intention, we will move ahead. And the highlight of today's session is, I believe, Premnath ji's linking between the code of ethics and the Bhagavad Gita and linking it to the people. That was fabulous, sir. I am falling short of words to praise you on that. You really brought the required dimension, sir. Thank you. Great, sir.
Thank you.
And so hearty congratulations to Viraj ji for the good work he is doing to the profession.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep doing it. You are the real example of Bhagavad Gita. You don't expect anything from this. You keep doing. Even one person attends the session, 1,000 people attend the session. You don't have anything to do with them. You keep contributing to it. You are the best example to the objectivity. You are not attached to the results at all, and you should continue to do it. And that is what is knowledge and skill. So you are never attached to it. You have good dharmas and all. Please keep doing it. We always support your works. And that's what I said. I keep saying professionals carry out work without expecting, and the fees what they earn is just an incidental. And we don't work for fees. Fees comes on its own. Thank you. Thank you very much again. All the best.
Thank you, sir. It's a really honor, and it's my privilege, sir. It's coming from you. It's really I'm very speechless, sir. I'm feeling very great that you appreciate the effort and you are telling all this for me, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So with this, we can conclude our today's session. Thank you so much, all the viewers across the platform, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and also on Facebook, and also on here at GoToWebinar. So with this, we are concluding, and we'll meet surely tomorrow. We have a session with Company Secretary Institute President, sir, is addressing from our platform tomorrow at morning 11 o'clock on merger and amalgamation. So tune in for tomorrow's session as well. It's a really wonderful concept by both the speaker. Both are from Ahmedabad, and the tuning of both the speaker is wonderful. We are covering a recent judgment on NCLT on corporate side and also on IBC matters. So it's again wonderful, and also President sir is addressing and presenting on post-COVID business restructuring. There are, I mean, the COVID has changed all the scenario, and sir is presenting on that how finance professional can have a wonderful role on post-COVID business restructuring. So with this, you can tune in at tomorrow 11 o'clock. So with this announcement, we are concluding our today's session. Thank you so much, all the panelists on their absence here. Also, we are very thankful to all our panelists, and also CCM Prasanna sir. We are very grateful to you, sir, as well. Sir is the vice chairman at present and on practice, we can say committee on small and medium-sized practitioners, and sir has given time. We are very thankful to you, sir. So with this, we are concluding our today's session. Thank you all.